Hey truckers, today we're seeing part 13 of Villain Tricks Heroines into Hating the MC. Let's dive into the video. Elder Hua, we have some inquiries pertaining to Yi Chen. Can you confirm whether it is true that he has the ability to multiply the exceedingly rare heavenly moon blossom flowers? Wang Hao asked with utmost seriousness, cutting straight to the heart of the matter. Elder Hua's gaze shifted from Wang Hao to Wang Ying, recognizing the gravity of the situation reflected in her eyes. Wang Ying's voice carried a determined tone as she urged, "We implore you to speak candidly, for we are gathering all available knowledge regarding Yi Chen. As he has aligned himself with the demons, it is imperative that we eliminate this threat swiftly to safeguard our empire." Wang Ying furrowed her brows in confusion, her voice reflecting her perplexity. What kind of treasure could grant such powers? I have never come across any information pertaining to such an artifact. Her bewilderment was mirrored by Wang Hao and Wang Chen, who exchanged puzzled glances. The notion of an artifact capable of multiplying herbs, irrespective of their rarity, was entirely foreign to them. Wang Jian's eyes widened slightly, a realization dawning upon him. He understood that this must be the fabled treasure that bestowed Yi Chen with his seemingly cheat-like abilities. Adding to the discussion, Elder Hua divulged another piece of crucial information. In addition to his herb multiplication abilities, Yi Chen also employs beast corpses in some manner. Although I am uncertain of the specifics, it is evident that these beast corpses hold great importance to him. The revelation sparked a profound sense of intrigue and curiosity among the group, their minds now consumed with unraveling the depths of Yi Chen's arsenal and the enigmatic secrets he held. Thank you for enlightening us and providing deeper insight into Yi Chen's abilities. Wang Ying expressed her gratitude with a courteous tone, her appreciation evident. Elder Hua reciprocated the politeness, her response graceful. It was my pleasure, Princess. You updates tnvel/by.com. As Wang Ying and the others turned to make their way towards Wang Hao's camp to engage in discussions with the Heavenly Blade sect members, Wang Jian's gaze lingered upon Elder Hua. Seizing the opportunity, he addressed her with a request. Elder Hua, I would be honored if you would spar with me. I've heard that you possess high-level insights into the laws of wind, and I would greatly appreciate the chance to refine my own understanding of this domain. You possess insights into the laws of wind? Elder Hua couldn't help but be taken aback. Her surprise stemmed from witnessing Wang Jian's mastery of powerful flames on the battlefield, indicating a profound understanding of the laws of fire. This revelation left her curious about his prowess in the laws of wind. Wang Jian wore a mischievous grin as he replied, "Indeed, I have gained insights into all the fundamental laws. Allow me to demonstrate." Raising his hand, Wang Jian unleashed a calm breeze that gently struck Elder Hua. The intensity of the laws of wind within the breeze caught her off guard, revealing an extraordinary strength that hinted at a high-level understanding of the laws of wind. Wang Hao and Wang Ying exchanged cold glances as their eyes narrowed, keenly observing the scene unfolding before them. Their astute intellects allowed them to discern that Wang Jian's strength had transcended its previous boundaries, ascending to new heights. It became apparent that his remarkable advancement was likely a result of the coveted elemental sparks. Unlike the others present, Wang Jian hadn't absorbed the essence of a single elemental spark. Instead, he had harnessed the combined power of all 5 sparks simultaneously. Wang Chen's countenance turned sour, a mask of envy plastered across his face. He couldn't help but feel a twinge of bitterness at witnessing his 7th brother's continuous growth, even within the confines of the King realm. As a stark contrast to his own struggle to break through to the same realm, Wang Jian seemed to effortlessly ascend to greater heights, fueling Wang Chen's deep-seated jealousy. Elder Hua gracefully acknowledged Wang Jian's request, her words carrying a tinge of reverence. "I would be honored to engage in a spar with you, Your Highness. Please feel free to approach me whenever it suits you." Wang Jian expressed his gratitude with a warm smile, appreciating Elder Hua's willingness to partake in the practice session. The group then departed from their current location, making their way towards Wang Hao's faction's designated area within the camp. After their discussion with the members of the Heavenly Blade sect, the group's conversation extended longer than anticipated. Eventually, they dispersed, each member returning to their respective duties. Just before parting ways, Wang Jian approached Wang Hao with a request, his tone carrying a hint of curiosity. "May I attempt to engage Guanyin in conversation? I believe she might share valuable insights about Yi Chen." Wang Hao's response was cold and cautious, as he warned, "Certainly, but tread lightly. Do not provoke her." Assuring Wang Hao of his caution, Wang Jian set off towards Guanyin's tent. Aware of his brother's potential for mischief, Wang Hao assigned some of his personal guards to discreetly monitor Wang Jian's actions. Their task was to ensure that Wang Jian only interacted with Guanyin and refrained from approaching other members of the faction. Should they witness any deviation from this plan, they were to intervene immediately. Wang Hao's cautious approach stemmed from his knowledge that many warriors on the battlefield held a deep admiration for Wang Jian's exceptional combat prowess. Although Wang Hao himself was no slouch in terms of fighting ability, he didn't want to take any chances when it came to allowing Wang Jian unrestricted access to his faction's members. As for Guanyin, Wang Hao reluctantly decided to grant Wang Jian the opportunity to approach her, fully confident that his brother's efforts would yield no fruitful response. Within moments, Wang Jian found himself standing in front of Guanyin's tent. He approached her quietly and whispered in a deliberate manner, his voice carrying a mix of familiarity and menace. "Greetings, Guanyin. I'm certain you recognize my voice." "Yes, it is I, Wang Jian, the seventh prince. I have come here to enlighten you on a rather intriguing fact. Yi Chen, your childhood friend, once attempted to assassinate me and even took the life of one of my dearest companions. Initially, I had planned to administer a fittingly cruel punishment for his transgressions. However, much to my surprise, he has now transformed into a demon. Now, I won't restrain myself any longer, and I shall extend my retribution to his family as well. You have until nightfall to convince me of his parents' innocence in this matter. Failure to do so will result in their eternal suffering, a lifetime of excruciating pain, tormented by the agonizing anticipation of a death that will never come." Wang Jian paused, allowing his words to linger in the air, before concluding, "You may choose to believe that I am merely employing these words as a ploy to entice you into revealing information about Yi Chen and his abilities. But I implore you to take a moment and consider whether I am truly capable of such ruthless actions. The answer, I believe, will become clear to you." With his acute awareness, Wang Jian sensed the subtle movements within the tent as his words sank in. He knew that Guanyin had been affected by his calculated approach. Wang Jian understood that a woman of Guanyin's virtue and righteous character, chosen by the very essence of the world to play the role of a protagonist's heroine, could not remain indifferent to his declaration. He knew that polite entreaties to coax her out of the tent would prove futile. Guanyin had already disregarded the face of Wang Hao, her faction's leader and the crown prince, and it was highly unlikely that she would give any consideration to Wang Jian. Her perception of him as an evil individual worked in his favor, providing him with the opportunity to convince her that he was willing to inflict harm upon innocent individuals for the actions of their son. As anticipated, it didn't take long before Guanyin emerged from her tent, her countenance displaying a resolute determination. Wang Jian's calculated strategy had succeeded in drawing her out, compelling her to face him and engage in what was to come. Guanyin's voice carried a weight of seriousness as she called out, "I am prepared to have a conversation with you. Come closer." However, Wang Jian remained unperturbed, his nonchalant demeanor unwavering as he continued walking without a care in the world. Though his actions appeared indifferent, inside, a mischievous smirk played upon his lips. Observing Wang Jian's disregard, a furrow formed on Guanyin's brow. She interpreted his behavior as an intentional act of elusiveness, adding to her growing frustration. Left with no other option, she hastened her steps, determined to intercept him and address him directly. As she positioned herself in front of Wang Jian, her tone exuded a hint of heat, revealing her impatience. "As you wished, I am here, ready to engage in conversation." Unfazed by her intensity, Wang Jian proposed a change of scenery with a touch of intrigue in his voice. "I prefer not to converse in this location. Let us adjourn to the nearby lake," he suggested, seamlessly continuing his stride towards the picturesque waters, inviting Guanyin to join him. Wang Jian and Guanyin found themselves seated beside the serene lake, the vibrant green grass beneath them providing a comfortable setting for their conversation. They positioned themselves to face each other, their eyes locked in a tense exchange. With an air of determination, Wang Jian initiated the discussion. "Let us begin with the most pressing question. Are Yi Chen's parents implicated in their son's transformation into a demon? Are they complicit in these dark events?" Guanyin's response brimmed with fervor as she vehemently refuted the notion. "No, they are humble traders, dealing solely in ornamental wares. They have no conceivable connection to the realm of demons." A cold edge crept into Wang Jian's voice as he pressed further. Then, could their beliefs be aligned with rebellious ideologies? Why would their son, in that case, target me, a royal prince? It would be more believable if the entire family had conspired with the demons, seeking to harm my empire. Guanyin's passion blazed forth as she fiercely defended the innocence of Yi Chen's family. "Absolutely not. Our families have shared a deep bond for generations. If any traces of rebellion existed, I would have uncovered them and put a stop to it." Wang Jian's disdainful snort echoed through the air, a gesture of skepticism. "I am willing to place trust in you, recognizing your unwavering commitment to the empire. However, I must ascertain whether I can truly rely on you. I cannot allow you to aid Yi Chen, who has succumbed to his demonic nature." A fiery resolve flickered in Guanyin's eyes as she responded with indignation. "Rest assured, I will never offer assistance to a demon, regardless of our shared history." Her fiery words were laced with indignation, as Wang Jian's doubt insulted her deeply. It felt as though he questioned her very moral compass and ethical fiber, a sentiment that stung her pride. "It's fortunate that you won't support him. Now, let's shift our focus to the other reason I sought this conversation," Wang Jian declared, rising slowly from his seat. Guanyin's curiosity piqued as she observed his actions, uncertain of his intentions. "Let us engage in a sparring session," Wang Jian proposed abruptly. In an instant, he released 3 arrows composed of the formidable laws of earth, surprising Guanyin. Instinctively, she summoned an earth wall as a defensive measure, only to be astonished as the arrows effortlessly tore through her protective barrier. Reacting swiftly, Guanyin swiftly evaded the incoming earthly arrows, grateful that her earth wall had at least slowed their velocity, granting her enough time to dodge. "You possess high-level insights in the laws of earth?" Guanyin couldn't contain her astonishment. Like Elder Hua and Wang Jian's siblings, she had witnessed his mastery over powerful flames. "Yes, indeed. That's precisely why I wish to spar with you. Engaging in combat against a skilled warrior such as yourself will provide valuable practice for me," Wang Jian explained. Guanyin's ego swelled with satisfaction upon hearing Wang Jian's acknowledgement of her prowess. Internally pleased that he regarded her as a formidable warrior, she couldn't afford to disappoint him and swiftly assumed her combat stance, ready to demonstrate her skills. The spar between Wang Jian and Guanyin ignited with a fervent clash of their skills. Wang Jian relied solely on his profound insights in the laws of Earth, unleashing a barrage of Earth-based attacks that showcased his extraordinary power and finesse. From the very beginning, it became evident that he held the upper hand. Despite her struggles, Guanyin refused to falter. She held great respect for Wang Jian's prowess even as he easily overwhelmed her. It was not a blind admiration, but a genuine recognition of his exceptional skills. She knew that this encounter would serve as a valuable learning experience as she aimed to refine her own abilities and unlock new levels of power. As the spar drew to a close, it was clear that Wang Jian emerged as the victor, his mastery of the laws of Earth proving to be a force to be reckoned with. Yet, Wang Jian's motivations ran deeper than mere victory. He had a calculated intention behind challenging Guan Yin to this duel. It was a strategic move to showcase his combat prowess and earn her admiration. Deep within, Wang Jian understood the inner workings of Guan Yin's character. He recognized her unwavering appreciation for those who possessed exceptional fighting skills, as well as her deep respect for formidable warriors. To reshape her perception of him, he needed to establish a foundation of admiration through his display of strength. "Your strength is reassuring," Wang Jian quipped, a lightness in his tone. "At least I won't have to worry about you if Yi Chen ever comes looking for you." Guan Yin rolled her eyes, an air of disdain evident in her response. "Yi Chen would never harm me." "Never say never," Wang Jian countered, his expression turning serious. "Did you ever imagine he would descend into darkness and become a demon?" The weight of Wang Jian's words struck Guan Yin, leaving her momentarily speechless. His example hit close to home, resonating deeply within her. It was a stark reminder of the unpredictability and volatility that lay hidden within individuals, even those closest to us. In that moment, Guan Yin realized the gravity of the situation. She couldn't deny the possibility that those we held dear might harbor secrets or undergo drastic transformations. The very thought left her unsettled, reevaluating her perceptions and assumptions. As the conversation reached a lull, an unexpected pang of hunger gripped Wang Jian. Sensing an opportunity, he proposed, "Would you care to join me in searching for some fruits? I've heard Stella mention an abundance of spiritual fruits near this very lake." "Stella? The revered butterfly spirit queen?" Guan Yin's surprise was palpable. The mention of Stella, a figure of immense significance and power, caught her off guard. Caught in a dilemma, Guan Yin wrestled with conflicting thoughts. Part of her resisted the idea of spending more time with Wang Jian, while another part recognized the potential value in joining him on this fruit-seeking expedition. Before she could reach a decision, Guan Yin watched as Wang Jian swiftly moved from his position, forging ahead into the western side of the forest. It became clear that he was unwilling to wait for her. His nonchalant actions intrigued Guan Yin, leading her to believe that Wang Jian's invitation was merely casual and devoid of ulterior motives. With determination in her eyes, she made her choice, chasing after him and calling out, "Wait for me." Unbeknownst to Guan Yin, a sinister smile played upon Wang Jian's lips. For the next 2 hours, Wang Jian and Guan Yin scoured the forest in search of spiritual fruits. Unfortunately, their findings were meager, indicating that the demons had likely depleted the area's resources. However, this fruitless expedition proved to be advantageous for Wang Jian, who utilized the time to engage Guan Yin in conversation. He skillfully prompted her by asking about her background and what motivated her to join the Crimson Guards. As their footsteps treaded softly on the forest floor, Guan Yin shared her story. She revealed that she had initially been a disciple of the esteemed Heavenly Blade sect, joining even before Yi Chen's arrival. Having mastered numerous sword techniques within the sect, Guan Yin eventually decided to part ways. She explained that the scarcity of techniques that aligned with her unique earth element led her to explore other organizations. After undergoing various trials, the Crimson Guards eventually selected her. As a member of this prestigious group, Guan Yin enjoyed the privilege of choosing her techniques based on the accumulation of contribution points. Contrary to her time in the sect, where the methods of earning points differed, Guan Yin now fulfilled missions assigned by townsfolk and city dwellers. Her responsibilities often involved subduing bandits, resolving personal matters, and safeguarding merchant caravans. Grateful for the opportunity to utilize her strength in aiding others, Guanyin expressed her satisfaction with these tasks. Curiosity burning within her, Guanyin decided to delve further into Wang Jian's background, eager to uncover the untold aspects of his life. Wang Jian, prepared for her inquiry, began recounting his past with sincerity and introspection. He shared that being born into the royal family had shielded him from the realities of the world, leading him to take everything for granted during his formative years. In his sheltered existence, Wang Jian had little exposure to moral guidance. Instead, surrounded by experts who would sweep his misdeeds under the rug, he grew up unaware of the consequences of his actions. Regrettably, he fell in with a misguided crowd of selfish and malevolent individuals, and their influence caused his own character to veer toward wickedness. However, a turning point arrived when Wang Jian faced the repercussions of his choices. Sent to the Xinguan region, a place devoid of the protective cloak of his family's prestige, he found himself surrounded by dangerous criminals. It was there that the gravity of his own wickedness struck him with brutal clarity. He realized the need to redirect his strength toward protecting the weak instead of exploiting them. Visit novelbin.c.m for updates. Wang Jian emphasized that upon his return, he had distanced himself from his former friends and never participated in their attempts to bully Guanyin. While he did stand up to defend them, when necessary, he believed it was a natural instinct to protect one's friends, regardless of their wickedness. Even though he recognized their flaws, he felt a sense of duty to shield them from harm. As Guanyin absorbed Wang Jian's account, she couldn't help but be deeply moved. His narrative revealed a profound transformation, one she had never anticipated. She felt a surge of admiration for his introspection and the growth he had undergone. The revelation of his journey from darkness to redemption etched a newfound respect within her heart. As realization dawned upon Guanyin, her eyes widened, and she couldn't help but ask, her voice filled with a mix of surprise and curiosity, "So, were you deceiving me when you spoke of punishing Yi Chen's parents?" Wang Jian responded with an air of nonchalance, his tone light, "Of course. I had planned to question them, but never intended to inflict any actual harm. It was merely a ploy to coax you out of your tent." A mischievous smile danced upon his lips as he maintained eye contact with Guanyin, relishing the effect his scheme had on her. "And well, it seems like it worked," he added playfully. Embarrassment tinged upon Guanyin's expression as she swiftly attempted to salvage her pride, not wanting to be perceived as easily swayed. Her face flushed, she retorted with a hint of defensiveness, "Oh, please. I knew perfectly well that you wouldn't actually go through with it. I was simply bored of being cooped up inside the tent for so long." Wang Jian responded with a light chuckle, his teasing smile unwavering, Of course. Believe whatever helps you sleep at night." Their exchange carried an undertone of light-hearted camaraderie, reflecting the ease that had begun to develop between them. Every aspect of the meeting had unfolded precisely as Wang Jian had envisioned. He understood the human psyche well, recognizing that individuals like Guanyin were drawn to stories of redemption. It was this insight that led him to craft his own past into a narrative that mirrored the path of redemption. As anticipated, Guanyin responded to his tale, her guarded demeanor gradually giving way to a newfound openness. Wang Jian recognized that humans possessed a fundamental need for connection, a longing to forge bonds with others. It was through the revelation of one's vulnerabilities and the display of trustworthiness that this connection could be nurtured, and trust could be established. He knew that by sharing his own journey of transformation, he had successfully laid the foundation for a deeper connection with Guanyin. Feeling satisfied with the progress made during their meeting, Wang Jian sensed that it was time to bring the day's interactions to a close. The two companions made their way back to the camp, their footsteps carrying a sense of contentment and renewed understanding. Upon their return, Wang Jian decided to take a moment to check the notifications and status updates provided by the system. To his delight, his intricate strategies and carefully laid plans had borne fruit in the form of destiny points. The majority of his rewards emanated from his interactions with Stella, Hong Meilin, and the profound turn of events surrounding Yi Chen's transformation into a demon. Each encounter and calculated move had contributed to the growth of his destiny points, a testament to the effectiveness of his intricate strategies. Status. Name: Wang Jian. Age: 20 years old. Destiny points: 1,914,913. Cultivation: 3rd stage of the King Realm. Require 100,000 destiny points for each stage. Cultivation technique: Soaring Dragon Technique, level 5, requires 2 million destiny points to level up. Skills: Origin Fist, Beam of Destruction, Mystic Force, Divine Shielding Iron Body, Enhanced Strength, Spiritual Sensitivity, Moonrise Fist, Lunar Shield, Moonshadow Step, Shadow Manipulation, Dark Fog, Eclipse Domain Annihilation, Tranquil Mind Divine Mantra, Black Castle, Elemental Genius, Dragon's Prestige, Enchantment Ability, Level 1, Starry Night Sky Strike, Serene Moonlight Slash, Swift Silver Stab, Endless Blade Defense, and Flowing Water Guard. Ocular Abilities: True Eyes, Level 2, 200,000 destiny points. Bloodline: Blue Moon Eclipse Devil Bloodline. 2nd level, Next Level, 500,000 destiny points. Insight and Laws: Flame, High Level, 5 million destiny points. Lightning, High, 5 million destiny points. Earth, High Level, 5 million destiny points. Wind, High Level, 5 million destiny points. Water, High Level, 5 million destiny points. Dark, Nil, 100,000 destiny points. Sword, Nil, 200,000 destiny points. Space, Nil, 1 million destiny points. Physique: Chaotic Yang Body, 1 million destiny points. Spirit: Dark Flame Double-Headed River Dragon, 7-star Spirit, Mutated. Weaknesses: Holy Attribute. Solar Attribute. With an already substantial sum of 460,000 destiny points under his belt, Wang Jian found himself pleasantly surprised by the addition of nearly 1.5 million more. Discover NW Chapter SNN0EL by.com. As he delved into the specifics, he discovered that the lion's share of these points originated from his interactions with Stella, the dramatic transformation of her perception of Yi Chen, and the subsequent trust he had earned from her. The second significant contribution to his burgeoning pool of destiny points came from the intricate schemes he had woven against Yi Chen, orchestrating a series of events that ultimately led to his demonic transformation and diminished favorability among the heroines, save for Xyrithia, the Devil Princess. Hong Meilin, too, played a notable role in his accumulated destiny points. Through cunning manipulation and the signing of a contract, Wang Jian had secured her as his woman while giving him power over her to making her do anything he wanted as long as it wouldn't be against the church. Surprisingly, Wang Jian also received smaller allocations of destiny points from individuals such as Guan Yin, Lady Zhuoran, Bishi Shuyan, Elder Hua, and even Jin Meixiang. However, the absence of points from Su Yuding and Wang Ying did not perturb him greatly, as he knew there would be opportunities to focus on them in the future. With such a considerable stockpile of destiny points at his disposal, Wang Jian faced a myriad of choices. One was to utilize these points on his cultivation and his bloodline. The second was to utilize these points on his bloodline and activating his chaotic young physique. And finally, the last one was to buy the insight of space and upgrade his bloodline. Contemplating his options, Wang Jian mulled over how best to utilize his newfound wealth of destiny points. After careful consideration, he settled on the second choice, activating his chaotic young physique and upgrading his bloodline. He reasoned that boosting his cultivation alone was not a pressing necessity given his current strength. Moreover, he recognized the potential risks of hasty bloodline upgrades without adequate countermeasures. Activating his physique held promise, as he harbored confidence that it would allow him to shroud his aura and maintain a concealed presence. Additionally, he refrained from prioritizing cultivation upgrades, for he knew that a momentous event awaited him, the presentation of the Butterfly Spirit Queen's mark by Stella. Anticipating that this occasion would yield a substantial number of points, he decided to save his destiny points for the opportune moment and considered further cultivation upgrades afterward. With a clear plan for the future and a sense of assurance, Wang Jian forged ahead. Wang Jian ventured away from the camp, making his way to a secluded clearing nestled within the depths of the forest. An inexplicable intuition urged him to perform the activation of his physique in this particular location, sensing that its effects would reverberate through his surroundings. "Activate my physique," Wang Jian commanded the system with unwavering resolve. "Understood, Master." Almost immediately, a scorching sensation enveloped Wang Jian's entire being, as if an enigmatic energy surged through every cell within his body. In tandem with this sensation, manifestations of wind, lightning, and flames materialized around him, their ethereal forms blending seamlessly with the atmosphere. Such was the intensity of this phenomenon that the entire area in his immediate vicinity succumbed to its force. A colossal pressure descended upon all beings present, exerting such formidable strength that even experts of the King realm felt a palpable suppression. It was only through the implementation of a recently constructed defensive array by Stella that the camp's occupants and the beasts inhabiting the heart of the forest managed to withstand this relentless pressure. Radiant orange flames emanated from Wang Jian's body, intertwining with the flames in his surroundings. These exceptional flames possessed an otherworldly heat and boasted a unique attribute known as the solar attribute. Even without direct contact, their very presence posed a grave threat to his adversaries, capable of inflicting severe harm through radiation alone. The acquisition of this extraordinary flame proved immensely advantageous for Wang Jian, as it not only granted him the ability to unleash its scorching might but also deepened his comprehension of the flame element. Through the fusion of the solar element with his existing flame element, his already advanced insight into the laws of flame soared to unprecedented heights, reaching the pinnacle of comprehension. Yet, the revelations did not cease there. The influx of insights seemed unending as Wang Jian delved even further into the breakthrough, now exploring the realm of domains. An elusive and rarely attained realm, even for experts of the Emperor realm, the understanding of domains remained a rarity within the everlasting mystic empire. This particular domain, now unveiled to Wang Jian, was none other than the scorching solar incineration domain, a manifestation of searing power and unparalleled destruction. In the everlasting mystic empire, it was exceedingly uncommon for Emperor realm experts to possess a domain, and many were devoid of such capabilities. Yet, here stood Wang Jian, a King realm expert, with a newfound domain to his name. It was a testament to his exceptional potential. Not only had his flame element ascended, but his insights into lightning and wind had also surged to new heights, reaching the pinnacle of understanding in both elements. Wang Jian stood at the precipice of his own power, wielding formidable prowess that surpassed the limits of his previous self. However, these insights were just one part of the numerous advantages that Wang Jian gained from activating his chaotic yang body. The second ability was known as the art of purification. Apparently, Wang Jian was now resistant to all poisons in the world, and he could also cure women of any ailments. The third was actually a combination of three abilities. Charismatic magnetism. The chaotic yang physique enhances the cultivator's natural charisma, making them exude an irresistible magnetism that attracts women like a magnetic force. This ability enhances their charm, persuasiveness, and leadership qualities, making them highly desirable and influential. Enchanting pheromones. Cultivators with the chaotic yang physique emit subtle pheromones that have a captivating effect on women. These pheromones evoke feelings of attraction and desire, creating a powerful allure that makes women irresistibly drawn to the cultivator. Blissful touch. The chaotic yang physique grants cultivators the ability to channel a euphoric energy through their touch. When in contact with women, this blissful touch induces a deep sense of relaxation, pleasure, and bliss. This ability fosters a profound connection and intimacy, making women crave the cultivator's euphoric presence. However, as they say, there are no absolutes in this world. Wang Jian soon received a notification from the system. The effects of the charismatic magnetism, enchanting pheromones, and blissful touch will be reduced to merely 10% of their ability when being utilized on women who are titled heroines. It will work completely on all other women who are not considered heroines by the world's essence. This explanation made Wang Jian sigh in disappointment, but he knew that if he used them properly, even with this demerit, these three abilities could turn extremely scary. But as they say, this wasn't the end. The final upgrade that Wang Jian received was the upgradation of his spirit. The dark flame double-headed river dragon was now shedding its skin and turning into a true dragon. As the dark flame double-headed river dragon underwent its transformative process, a magnificent spectacle unfolded. Shedding its old skin, the dragon's body shimmered with an ethereal glow, its scales gradually morphing into an iridescent brilliance. Emerging from its former guise, the dragon now stood resplendent as a true dragon, radiating an aura of unparalleled majesty. Its body had undergone a remarkable metamorphosis, growing in size and stature to an awe-inspiring magnitude. With each passing moment, it became increasingly evident that this majestic creature had transcended its previous form, attaining a level of grandeur that surpassed all expectations. The true dragon, now boasting not 2, but 4 heads, stood as an embodiment of sheer power. Each head possessed a distinct countenance, a reflection of the dragon's multifaceted nature. The fiery gaze of the first head exuded an intense solar attribute, its eyes ablaze with the power of the sun itself. The second head crackled with the untamed might of lightning, arcs of electricity dancing between its sharp fangs. The third head exuded tempestuous air, embodying the wind attribute with gusts that seemed to stir the very air around it. Lastly, the fourth head retained the power of dark attribute. With its transformation complete, the true dragon commanded a presence that was both awe-inspiring and fearsome. It possessed an unparalleled fusion of elemental attributes, its solar, wind, lightning, and dark qualities intertwining harmoniously within its majestic form. This spirit was known as the Solar Storm Tempest Dark Dragon. And finally, this spirit's rank had reached the 8th grade. Once his physique had been successfully upgraded, Wang Jian utilized his spirit to set up a flame barrier around himself that was infused with solar attribute. He then ordered the system, "Upgrade my devil bloodline." The ethereal flame barrier enveloping Wang Jian was forged to withstand and conceal the immense pressure and potent aura emanating from his awakened devil bloodline. Within the confines of this barrier, a profound metamorphosis unfolded as his body, bloodline, and spirit underwent a momentous transformation. An ocular ability, abyssal pupils, became unlocked, bestowing Wang Jian with heightened visual acuity and a mastery over the obscure and enigmatic attribute elements, darkness, shadows, moon, as well as elements like water, ice, and earth. Through his abyssal pupils, he gained the ability to discern the intricate flow and intensity of yin energy, offering him unparalleled clarity in analyzing the composition of these elements. His bloodline surged with an infusion of intense insight into the laws of darkness, elevating his understanding to the pinnacle. Yet, it wasn't limited to the laws of darkness alone. His comprehension of other attributed laws, such as water and earth, also reached their zenith. The newfound ability of yin manipulation bestowed upon Wang Jian precise control over the ebb and flow, density, and form of yin elements. He could mold shadows into tangible shapes, manipulate darkness to conceal or reveal, and harness the subtle yet potent power of yin for a myriad of purposes. An additional ability, Shadow Meld, emerged from his evolution, enabling Wang Jian to seamlessly merge with shadows, becoming one with the very essence of darkness. This extraordinary capability bolstered his stealth prowess, rendering him virtually undetectable even in brightly illuminated environments. It proved invaluable for clandestine operations, reconnaissance missions, and navigating perilous situations with unparalleled finesse. Yin Empowerment, a passive ability, imbued Wang Jian with the capacity to absorb and harness yin energy from his surroundings, revitalizing his strength and rejuvenating his abilities. This reserve of energy became a wellspring from which he could draw upon in moments of dire need, amplifying his powers and fortifying his endurance. It served as a vital asset in sustaining prolonged efforts, recovering from exhaustion, and maintaining peak performance. As the metamorphosis continued, Wang Jian's spirit underwent further mutations. Where there were once 4 heads, 3 additional heads emerged, sprouting from the dark energy-infused head. These newfound heads possessed the attributes of the moon, ice, and earth. Thus, Wang Jian's dragon spirit boasted a grand total of 7 heads. Since his bloodline spirit had evolved, it had reached the 9th rank, which was considered the peak rank on the continent. Its name was now Solar Storm Tempest Abyss Dragon. This upgrade of his bloodline had significantly boosted his dragon's prestige ability. In fact, the dragon's prestige reached level 3 due to this significant boost. Remarkably, his spirit now possessed the ability to alter its appearance at will, enabling Wang Jian to conceal the Yin attribute heads from the prying eyes of other cultivators. This newfound versatility offered him a tactical advantage, ensuring the concealment of his true power. Check out LTSTVL on novl/bin.cm. Lastly, he unlocked the unique ability bestowed upon the inheritors of the prestigious Blue Moon Eclipse Devil clan, an ability that manifested in only one individual per era. This extraordinary capability was known as the Devil Devouring Bloodline ability. The Devil Devouring Bloodline ability bestowed upon Wang Jian the extraordinary power to assimilate the abilities of demons whose blood essence he consumed. As this revelation dawned upon him, delight ignited within his eyes. He swiftly realized that by eliminating Yi Chen and absorbing his blood essence, he would acquire the coveted ancestral devil bloodline, an opportunity he eagerly anticipated. Truly, this newfound ability was a remarkable gift, brimming with infinite possibilities. Status: Name: Wang Jian. Age: 20 years old. Destiny points: 414,913. Cultivation: 3rd stage of the King Realm. Require 100,000 destiny points for each stage. Cultivation technique: Soaring Dragon Technique, level 5, requires 2 million destiny points to level up. Skills: Origin Fist, Beam of Destruction, Mystic Force, Divine Shielding Iron Body, Enhanced Strength, Spiritual Sensitivity, Moonrise Fist, Lunar Shield, Moon Shadow Step, Shadow Manipulation, Dark Fog, Eclipse Domain Annihilation, Tranquil Mind Divine Mantra, Black Castle, Elemental Genius, Dragon's Prestige, Level 3, Enchantment Ability, Level 1, Art of Purification, Charismatic Magnetism, Enchanting Pheromones, Blissful Touch, Shadow Meld, Yin Manipulation, Yin Enhancement, and Devil Devouring Bloodline Ability. Sword techniques: Starry Night Sky Strike, Serene Moonlight Slash, Swift Silver Stab, Endless Blade Defense, and Flowing Water Guard. Ocular abilities: True Eyes, Level 2, 200,000 Destiny Points, Abyss Eyes, upgraded along with Bloodline. Bloodline: Blue Moon Eclipse Devil Bloodline. 3rd level, next level, 3 million Destiny Points. Insight in Laws: Flame, peak level, Lightning, peak level, Earth, peak level, Wind, peak level, Water, peak level, Darkness, peak level, Moon, peak level. Sword: Nil, 200,000 Destiny Points, Space: Nil, 1 million Destiny Points. Domains: Flame, Scorching Solar Incineration Domain, Lightning, Nil, 10 million Destiny Points, Earth, Nil, 10 million Destiny Points, Wind, Nil, 10 million Destiny Points, Water, Nil, 10 million Destiny Points, Moon, Nil, 10 million Destiny Points, Darkness, Nil, 10 million Destiny Points. Physique: Chaotic Yang Body, 10 million Destiny Points. Spirit: Solar Storm Tempest Abyss Dragon, 9th Star Spirit, mutated. Weaknesses: Holy Attribute. As Wang Jian reviewed his status, he realized that for most of his elements, his insights and laws had reached their pinnacle. However, he understood that gaining insights was merely the initial step in harnessing the full potential of each element. The next stage involved delving into the realm of domains, where he could establish his dominance and mastery. Satisfied with his current achievements, Wang Jian decided to depart from the area before drawing unnecessary attention. The profound transformation of his physique and bloodline had unleashed a disruptive force, causing turmoil in the surroundings. Anticipating that the experts in the camp, including Stella, would investigate the commotion, he opted to leave the chaotic scene behind. When the experts of the camp arrived at the scenario, they were shocked to the extreme to witness the destruction. Moreover, some of the experts who were more sensitive towards demonic attributes sensed it from these surroundings. Wang Jian joined the group that had come to survey this location soon enough. He made it seem as though he was also in the dark about who had done this. Wang Jian was standing next to Hong Meilin, Bishi Shuyan, and Lady Zhuoran as he spoke to them, didn't think there would be a demon hidden so close to our camp. It seems that he possessed a strange flame attribute treasure to keep his demonic aura hidden. At this moment, Wang Jian's charismatic magnetism was already working on the women around him. In fact, all the women who didn't possess the heroine status couldn't help but stare at Wang Jian with a hint of captivated look. Wang Jian's charismatic magnetism was a passive ability, and it would remain active for as long as he wanted it to be. However, unlike normal women, the women holding onto the heroine status possessed great resistance to it. Still, despite their resistance, they were slightly affected as Hong Meilin, Bishi Shuyan, and Lady Zhuoran couldn't help but stare at Wang Jian with mesmerized looks in their eyes. Hong Meilin unconsciously responded to Wang Jian's words, "The demon must have fled when he sensed us approaching." But what was he doing here? Why did he utilize this treasure that generated such a weird phenomenon and created such mind-numbing pressure? Wang Jian shrugged in response, "No idea. Maybe he ate something bad." Perhaps, Hong Meilin responded while unconsciously staring at Wang Jian. As the crowd gradually dispersed, Stella and her comrades remained behind, determined to trace the residual aura that lingered in the area. Despite their diligent efforts, their search yielded no results. Meanwhile, Wang Jian made a conscious decision to stay in the company of Hong Meilin, Lady Zhuoran, and Bishi Shuyan. Sensing no immediate urgency to approach Guanyin or Elder Hua, he believed that his previous interactions with Guanyin had sufficiently improved their impression of him. Now, his plan was to discreetly organize future meetings with her once they returned to the capital. Regarding Elder Hua, Wang Jian had his sights set on a visit to the Lotus Blossom sect. Armed with the 3 unique skills he had gained by activating his enhanced physique, he held a confident expectation of a fruitful encounter. In the midst of this moment, Hong Meilin, Lady Zhuoran, and Bishi Shuyan found themselves deeply affected by Wang Jian's remarkable abilities. Compounded with the enigmatic nature of their relationship with him, their thoughts revolved around him incessantly. Hong Meilin, in particular, couldn't help but be captivated by Wang Jian's striking handsomeness, power, and charisma. Internally, she experienced a sense of relief, knowing that he had employed a scheme to claim her as his own. In fact, whenever she gazed upon Wang Jian, a spark of desire ignited within her, compelling her to yearn for his attention and affection. Lady Zhuoran had once harbored a tangle of conflicting emotions toward Wang Jian, and understandably so. The memories of how he had manipulated and coerced her into an intimate encounter, using her daughter as leverage, had left her with a complex mixture of sentiments. However, in the present circumstances, she found herself strangely relieved that fate had intertwined her life with his. After all, he was not only a powerful prince within the human empire, but also a man of remarkable handsomeness. Similarly, Bishi Shuyan, following in her mother's footsteps, grappled with a whirlwind of intricate emotions concerning Wang Jian. The circumstances surrounding their initial encounter, where he had forced her into a life of servitude, leaving her mother as a hostage, had undeniably created a convoluted connection between them. Yet, to her surprise, a subtle sense of contentment had started to emerge within her. It was difficult for her to deny the allure of his striking appearance and formidable power. Upto.dfrm no/v/e/lb I n.co/m However, Wang Jian made an intriguing choice at this juncture. Instead of showering Hong Meilin with his attention, he directed his focus primarily towards Bishi Shuyan and her mother, Lady Zhuoran. He sensed that Hong Meilin's growing desire for him was still not intense enough to satiate his desires. He yearned for something more profound, an overwhelming infatuation that would drive her to the brink of madness. Unbeknownst to Hong Meilin, she remained oblivious to the scandalous relationship between Wang Jian and the mother-daughter duo, Lady Zhuoran and Bishi Shuyan. All she perceived was their unwavering loyalty and dutiful obedience towards Wang Jian. Under the impression that this obedience had earned them Wang Jian's favor, she resolved to mimic their behavior and diligently adhere to his commands. As the day swiftly passed, the sun set on the horizon, giving way to a new dawn. On the following day, a grand ceremony unfolded, orchestrated by Stella and her comrades of the esteemed butterfly spirit race. The event served as a momentous occasion for the Crown Prince Wang Hao and the second Princess Wang Ying, as they were bestowed with the revered butterfly spirit mark. Mesmerized by the spectacle, Wang Jian keenly observed the proceedings, his eyes fixed upon the moment when the butterfly spirit mark was bestowed. He discovered that the mark was presented with a tender kiss upon the recipient's hand, a gesture brimming with significance and reverence. An undeniable anticipation stirred within Wang Jian's heart as he imagined the forthcoming ceremony, where it would be Stella's turn to bestow her lips upon his hand. Following the conclusion of the ceremony, Wang Hao and Wang Ying's faction bid farewell to the forest, their departure marking the end of their presence there. Fortuitously, Wang Jian did not have to wait long for his own turn to receive the butterfly spirit mark from Stella, the revered butterfly spirit queen. The next day held the promise of this momentous event, brimming with anticipation and significance. However, with the remainder of the day unoccupied, Wang Jian decided to seek out the company of the church's faithful followers. A discussion was occurring at this moment on whether they should journey alongside Wang Jian's faction or embark on their own separate path. As fate would have it, Wang Jian made his entrance, interrupting their deliberations and drawing the attention of the church's followers, including Hong Meilin. Their initial surprise softened upon realizing the immense power that Wang Jian possessed. Curiosity and intrigue laced Hong Meilin's words as she stepped forward to address Wang Jian. "What brings you here, Your Highness? Is there something you require?" A serene smile played upon Wang Jian's lips as he replied in a composed tone, "I have come to extend an invitation to you. Stella mentioned that I may have those dear to me present at the ceremony tomorrow." A hushed gasp rippled through the gathered faithful, their startled expressions mingling with a sense of mounting excitement. The mere thought of their revered saintess attending the hallowed ceremony sent ripples of anticipation through their hearts. "This offer, Your Highness. You extend it to our saintess?" Their voices trembled, a blend of surprise and fervor permeating the air. Indeed, the allure of attending the ceremony was heightened by the knowledge that it would bestow small yet tangible benefits upon the participants. Gratitude welled within Hong Meilin as she voiced her appreciation, her voice thick with emotion. "I humbly thank you for this generous offer, Your Highness." But Wang Jian knew that this effect alone was not enough to solidify his influence over her. It was time to employ his other skill, the blissful touch. In a sudden gesture, he took hold of Hong Meilin's hand and casually remarked, "Stella mentioned that there's a revered dance cherished the entire butterfly spirit race. We are expected to participate in it during the ceremony." The church's followers, including Hong Meilin, raised their eyebrows inquisitively. Curiosity got the better of them, and they asked, "What kind of dance is this? Why wasn't it performed during the ceremony when the Crown Prince and Second Princess received the butterfly spirit mark?" Wang Jian sneered with disdain, dismissing their questions. "Comparing their ceremony to mine would be an injustice. I shall be bestowed the mark by the illustrious queen of the butterfly spirit race, unlike them, who received it from ordinary members. This ceremony holds tremendous significance, and according to Stella, not performing this dance might result in missing out on substantial benefits for our spiritual energy." His words acted as the final confirmation for the church's followers, sealing their belief in the dance's importance. It seems we must seek the guidance of the butterfly spirit race to learn this dance, Hong Meilin suggested. No need for that. I've already learned it directly from them, and I can teach it to you. Just follow my lead, Wang Jian hurriedly responded, his words laced with deception. In truth, no such dance existed within the traditions of the butterfly spirit race. He concocted this excuse to maintain physical contact with Hong Meilin, utilizing his increasing blissful touch technique to amplify her favorability towards him. Wang Jian had exercised caution, initially restraining the full strength of his blissful touch to avoid arousing suspicion in Hong Meilin. But with each passing moment, he gradually increased the technique's potency, allowing Hong Meilin to mistakenly believe that these feelings were genuinely her own. As for the dance itself, Wang Jian possessed a wealth of knowledge from his previous life in the modern world. With familiarity in classical, folk, and romantic dances, he seamlessly incorporated elements from these styles, engaging Hong Meilin in a captivating and lengthy dance. The church's followers observed, convinced that this was an esteemed tradition of the revered butterfly spirit race. Wang Jian's scheme unfolded with remarkable success, as Hong Meilin's heart raced within her chest. Overwhelmed by a profound sense of joy, she wished fervently for this moment to linger indefinitely. The intoxicating effect of the blissful touch had intensified her favorability for Wang Jian to unprecedented levels. Putting the efficacy of his technique to the test, Wang Jian began softly whispering instructions to Hong Meilin, ensuring that none of the church's followers noticed his discreet gestures. Initially, the directives were simple, like graceful twirls or playful leaps, drawing them closer in an intimate embrace. As the moments unfolded, his requests took on an increasingly eccentric nature. Yet, engrossed in her euphoric state, Hong Meilin failed to perceive the peculiarities hidden within the subtle shifts. It was precisely in this moment that Wang Jian's voice caressed her ear, his words a seductive whisper, "Kiss me." Enveloped by her euphoria and overwhelming adoration for Wang Jian, Hong Meilin's body instinctively responded, heeding his words before her mind could process their implications. Without the slightest hesitation, and with an undercurrent of anticipation and excitement, she kissed him with unabashed passion. It was through this intimate act, the power of their kiss, that the effects of Wang Jian's blissful touch would have the greatest impact on Hong Meilin. Only one other method existed to ensure the peak potency of the blissful touch on a woman, and that was through sexual intimacy. An eruption of outrage surged through the ranks of the church's devoted followers as they beheld their esteemed saintess, Hong Meilin, boldly seizing the initiative to bestow upon Wang Jian a passionate kiss. The intensity of her embrace stoked an inferno of anger within them as they struggled to reconcile their image of a virtuous and untainted saintess with this audacious display of intimacy. While the followers had grudgingly acknowledged Wang Jian's impressive martial prowess, the boundaries of acceptability were shattered by the sight before them. Whispers and rumors of a burgeoning connection between the saintess and Wang Jian had circulated amongst the factions of Wang Hao and Wang Ying the day before. However, the church's faithful adherents staunchly denied these allegations, asserting with unwavering confidence that their revered saintess would never engage in a relationship with Wang Jian. Yet now, reality unfolded before their eyes, searing their retinas and stoking a torrent of unbridled fury. Voices rose in protest, morphing into a chorus of incredulous outbursts and searing insults. What on earth is happening? Saintess, what have you done? Saintess, how could you taint your purity by engaging in such an intimate act with him? This shameless display from our once virtuous saintess is utterly disgraceful. She is behaving no better than a common harlot. The torrent of voices cascaded forth, their expressions of outrage growing in intensity, fueling the tempestuous atmosphere. It was this cacophony of condemnation that jolted Hong Meilin back to reality, causing the euphoria that had clouded her mind to slowly dissipate. With clarity restored, she comprehended the gravity of her misstep. She had succumbed to the enchanting allure of the blissful feeling, allowing it to guide her into passionately kissing Wang Jian. Reluctantly, her lips parted from Wang Jian's, and she turned to face her indignant members of the church. To her surprise, it wasn't the act of kissing Wang Jian that Hong Meilin deeply regretted, but rather the audacity of doing so in the presence of her loyal church members. Even more astonishing was that Hong Meilin didn't place blame on Wang Jian for his whispered command. She acknowledged that she was fully aware of her actions throughout and had willingly chosen to kiss him. Therefore, she didn't find it justifiable to hold Wang Jian accountable for her own choices. With Wang Jian's hand firmly resting on her waist, he confronted the enraged followers, his voice cutting through the tension like ice. "Choose your words wisely," he warned, his tone tinged with menace. "If any of you dare to insult my woman, I will show no mercy. None of you will escape the consequences of your insolence." The pressure emitted by Wang Jian focused solely on the church members, causing them to feel as though the air had been sucked out of their surroundings. It was so intense that most of them, including the two bishops, found themselves forced to the ground, as if an immense aura was pressing them down. In that moment, Wang Jian discreetly activated the low-intensity blissful touch technique through his hand firmly grasping Hong Meilin's waist, concealing it from her awareness. Despite the hurt and anger she felt at the despicable insults hurled by her church followers, Hong Meilin couldn't help but experience a profound sense of bliss as she witnessed Wang Jian standing up for her, protecting her from her own comrades. "Please let them go, Your Highness," Hong Meilin requested Wang Jian politely. "Are you certain you wish to forgive them?" "I believe they have yet to learn their lesson," Wang Jian spoke icily, his gaze piercing through the church members. "No. The fault lies with me. They were entirely justified in admonishing me," Hong Meilin humbly and respectfully replied. Though she spoke those words, not all of them reflected her true sentiments. She still carried the hurt and anger within her, but she chose not to prolong the matter, unwilling to see Wang Jian harm members of her beloved church. "I will release them at your request," Wang Jian said coldly, retracting his oppressive aura. As a result, the church members gradually rose to their feet, taking deep breaths to recover. Yet, the fury in their eyes toward Hong Meilin remained. It was evident that this matter was far from concluded. However, Wang Jian soon turned away and declared, "I shall take my leave now. Remember the dance and ensure your presence at tomorrow's ceremony." His words hung in the air, leaving a sense of anticipation and unresolved tension among the church members as Wang Jian departed. As Wang Jian prepared to depart, his keen ears caught a torrent of insults being hurled at Hong Meilin even before he had left the vicinity. A wicked smile played upon Wang Jian's lips, for his plan had executed flawlessly. With each insult, Hong Meilin would feel a deepening sense of isolation from her comrades, gradually fostering a growing resentment within her. In this bleak scenario, he would become her sole source of solace and support. After returning to his faction's stronghold, Wang Jian resolved to meet Lady Zhuoran and dismantle any lingering reluctance that had dwelled within her. Drawing upon his formidable repertoire of skills, charismatic magnetism, enchanting pheromones, and the fascinating power of the blissful touch, he embarked on a mission to conquer not only her body but her mind. The night unfolded in a symphony of passion, where Wang Jian's every move was an orchestrated rhythm designed to pound Lady Zhuoran into submission. With calculated finesse, he unleashed his mastery, bewitching her senses and plunging her deeper into the abyss of insatiable desire. Lost in a haze of lust and yearning, Lady Zhuoran discovered a truth that resonated within the depths of her being. No longer could she resist the alluring call of Wang Jian. Her cravings intensified, an insatiable hunger that could only be sated by the touch of his very being. Even the slightest graze of his pinky finger against her flesh ignited an inferno of heat, a primal longing that could only be quelled through an intense and intimate union with him. In her mind, being with Wang Jian became the pinnacle of bliss, an intoxicating elixir she could not bear to relinquish. The depths of their connection beckoned her, promising a fulfillment that surpassed all boundaries. With each resounding pound, Wang Jian cemented his dominance over Lady Zhuoran's body and soul. Their union was a tempestuous dance, where desire melded with surrender, leaving her utterly consumed by his touch. The power of their connection reverberated through her being, echoing the raw intensity of their desires. Get the latest chapters on n/velben.com. As their bodies entwined and their passions collided, Lady Jouron was enveloped in a whirlwind of ecstasy. In the aftermath of their fervent and intoxicating liaison, Lady Jouron was consumed by a profound sense of fulfillment, her very core anchored to the all-encompassing bliss she had discovered in the arms of Wang Jian. A whirlwind of sensations danced within her, mingling desire, satisfaction, and an insatiable hunger for more. Yet, her astonishment knew no bounds when she awoke to the startling revelation that her cultivation realm had ascended to unprecedented heights. Once confined to the stagnation of the 5th level of the King realm, she now found herself elevated to the illustrious 7th level in a single night of passion. It was a profound metamorphosis that defied logic and surpassed her wildest expectations. As Lady Jouron absorbed the magnitude of this extraordinary leap, a radiant smile blossomed on her face. In that moment, she discerned a glimmer of purpose beyond the immediate pleasures she had indulged in. Embracing her role as the matriarch of her race, she carried the weighty responsibility of cultivating her own strength and guiding her clan to new heights of greatness. And if surrendering herself to the magnetic allure of Wang Jian promised to unlock untapped reservoirs of power, she would seize that opportunity without hesitation. Yet, deep down, Lady Jouron was aware that her noble justifications served a dual purpose. They allowed her to cloak her true desires with a facade of duty and righteousness, providing a semblance of moral validation for her insatiable longing to be with Wang Jian. In truth, her motives were driven not solely by the pursuit of power, but by a primal, unspoken craving that burned within her core. Lady Jouron's smile, tinged with a trace of mischief, mirrored the complex interplay of her thoughts. With each passing moment, her desire for Wang Jian grew stronger, intertwining with her yearning for strength and supremacy. In this intricate dance of power and passion, Lady Jouron was prepared to navigate the blurred lines between duty and desire, fully aware that her true motivations could not be easily disentangled from the web she had spun around herself. After having successfully ensnared Lady Jouron in his web of desire and manipulation, Wang Jian's attention now turned towards his next target, Lady Jouron's beloved daughter, Bishi Shuyan. His dark intentions were veiled behind a sinister smile that danced upon his lips as he rose from his reclined position. Engaging a combination of elemental techniques, he purified his body and adorned himself in pristine white attire, a clear symbol of his royal status. With calculated steps, he made his way towards the designated location for the forthcoming ceremony. Lady Jouron, despite her exhaustion, summoned the strength to rise from the bed. Employing her mastery over the water element, she cleansed herself, reveling in the soothing sensation of renewal. She then adorned an elegant ensemble, carefully chosen to veil her seductive figure, before hastening to join Wang Jian outside the tent. Meanwhile, Bishi Shuyan, unaware of the dark intentions lurking beneath Wang Jian's charismatic facade, prepared herself for the event. As she approached him, her youthful innocence shone through, an unassuming presence amidst the tangled web of deceit. The trio embarked on their journey towards the ceremony, their steps guided by a shared purpose, albeit concealed beneath their individual facades. A sense of anticipation filled the air as their paths converged, and it was in this moment that Hong Meilin, bearing the weight of her sleepless nights, joined their entourage. As Wang Jian's gaze fell upon Hong Meilin's countenance, a flicker of satisfaction danced in his heart. He reveled in the sight of her weariness and the shadows that lingered beneath her eyes, for it signified the successful execution of his plan. The outcome had surpassed even his lofty expectations, fueling his sinister satisfaction. In the aftermath of the preceding day's events, Hong Meilin found herself bearing the weight of numerous abuses, insults, and disdain inflicted upon her by her fellow comrades. Resolute and tenacious, she suppressed these emotions, burying them deep within the recesses of her heart. Seeking solace and respite, she retired to her tent, hoping that slumber would offer an escape from the haunting echoes of her mistreatment. Yet, Sleep proved to be an elusive companion. Despite her best efforts to banish the tormenting memories, her restless mind persisted in replaying every cutting remark, every venomous insult. The relentless mental playback only served to amplify her anxiety and ignite a smoldering resentment towards those who had treated her with such callous disregard. How could they respond with such vitriol and hostility? In the depths of her turmoil, Hong Meilin's thoughts wandered to a path not taken. She couldn't help but contemplate the lives of other women her age, their hearts entwined in the passionate dance of love or the sacred vows of marriage. In stark contrast, she had poured her entire being into the service of the church, surrendering her personal desires and aspirations along the way. She couldn't ignore the weight of the contract she had willingly signed with Wang Jian, a pact crafted to secure the lives of her comrades and ensure the church's access to coveted rare ores. Yet, it seemed that her comrades remained oblivious to the magnitude of her sacrifice, their focus fixated solely on her single misstep. The larger purpose behind her actions was obscured, overshadowed by their narrow judgment. As her mind continued its relentless spiral, anger and resentment swelled within Hong Meilin, fueling her growing animosity towards her fellow comrades. However, she clung to a fragment of understanding that tempered her reaction. Deep in the recesses of her consciousness, a flicker of recognition acknowledged the faint semblance of justification in their actions, even if it seemed misplaced. As they made their way towards the ceremony, Wang Jian turned to Hong Meilin with a concerned look. "Hey, are you all right? Your comrades really went overboard with their reaction earlier." Hong Meilin, her smile unwavering, responded in a calm tone. "Don't worry, Your Highness. They understood that I got caught up in the moment and have already forgiven me." It was a blatant lie, but Wang Jian maintained his smile and spoke reassuringly. "That's a relief. It's important for them to realize that even as a saintess, you have your own life. The church shouldn't be allowed to restrict your freedom." His words struck a chord within Hong Meilin, her mind drifting into contemplation as she absent-mindedly replied, "You're absolutely right, Your Highness." During their journey, Wang Jian engaged in conversation with her, subtly maneuvering his words to manipulate her perception of the church. He avoided painting the church as an inherently evil religion, knowing well that Hong Meilin had dedicated her life to its service. Such a portrayal would be futile and unproductive. Instead, he chose a different approach, skillfully using facts and theories to shed light on the church's self-centered nature. He emphasized how they employed subtle forms of manipulation and brainwashing to ensure unwavering loyalty from their followers. In doing so, they secured both public support and maintained their influential political standing. Wang Jian gradually made Hong Meilin understand that, as a saintess, she served as a mere instrument for the church's ulterior motives. With her virtuous nature, purity of heart, and innate charisma, she possessed the power to sway the hearts and minds of the faithful, ensuring their unwavering devotion. His words worked their magic, gently persuading Hong Meilin to see beyond her naive and idealistic perspective. They resonated with her own underlying thoughts, which had long been concealed deep within her heart. Despite the turmoil brewing within her, Hong Meilin managed to suppress her dissenting thoughts, reminding herself that it was not right to harbor negative sentiments towards the church that had provided her with everything she had known. Before long, Wang Jian's group of 4 arrived at the ceremony's location. As they reached their destination, Wang Jian exchanged pleasantries with a couple of members from the butterfly spirit race. These women possessed undeniable beauty, though not quite at the level of heroines. Nonetheless, their allure was captivating. Guided by these members, Wang Jian was led to the center of an ancient array, a marvel of intricate design and ancient craftsmanship. The array hummed with a mystical energy, its origins veiled in the mists of time. Simultaneously, other butterfly spirit members escorted Hong Meilin, Lady Zhuoran, and Bishi Shuyan to different points within the expansive array, each position bearing significance to the ceremony's proceedings. Soon, Stella made her appearance, clad in a resplendent green gown that accentuated her enchanting allure. Her figure, graceful and alluring, caught Wang Jian's attention, prompting his eyes to linger with an unabashed gaze. Yet, he swiftly quelled these impure thoughts, aware that any advances towards Stella would prove futile without leverage over her, at least for now. The ancestral array stood before them, a complex web of ancient symbols and intricate patterns etched into the very fabric of its existence. It emanated an aura of power, with each line and curve crafted from rare and mystical materials, imbued with the essence of the butterfly spirit race. Positioned at specific points within the array, the butterfly spirit members stood with solemn dedication, awaiting the signal from their queen to activate its profound capabilities. They understood their role as conduits, channeling their innate connection with nature to unlock the array's full potential. With a gentle wave of her hand, Queen Stella signaled her followers to commence the activation process, their movements synchronized with a harmonious dance of grace and purpose. The atmosphere buzzed with anticipation as the array's dormant energy began to stir, as if awakening from a slumber that spanned centuries. Before long, Stella stood before Wang Jian, a serene smile on her face. With unwavering confidence, she spoke, her voice resonating with clarity. "Seventh Prince Wang Jian, do you willingly forge an eternal bond as my lifelong comrade?" Wang Jian's response was calm and sincere as he replied, "Yes. I, Stella, Queen of the Butterfly Spirit Race, shall bestow upon you my personal mark, a symbol of our everlasting alliance," she declared, taking a step forward and gently clasping his hands within her own. In that instant, Wang Jian's eyes ignited with a vibrant brilliance, activating his blissful touch ability. Though he knew that stealing a kiss from Stella in this moment would be unlikely, he recognized the opportunity to deepen her fondness for him. Stella possessed an extraordinary level of luck and spiritual energy, making her immune to the typical effects of Wang Jian's blissful touch ability. Wang Jian wasn't disappointed as he noticed that his blissful touch ability failed to work on Stella, as this outcome was one that he had anticipated and planned for. Raising Wang Jian's right hand, Stella drew closer, her captivating lips nearing his skin before pressing a tender kiss upon it. As the contact was made, waves of intense pleasure coursed through Stella's being, not reaching the magnitude of when Wang Jian had used his blissful touch ability on Hong Meilin, yet far surpassing any pleasure she had experienced before. Simultaneously, a magnificent spectacle unfolded, a colossal manifestation of pure spiritual energy materialized above them, casting a luminous glow upon the surroundings. The sheer magnitude of this phenomenon sent ripples of energy cascading throughout the array. Almost 90% of the released spiritual energy was effortlessly absorbed by Wang Jian, its potent essence fueling his own transformation. The remaining 10% dispersed among the other individuals present, granting them a mere taste of this spiritual power. As if acknowledging the profound change that occurred within him, a delicate pink butterfly mark materialized on Wang Jian's right hand, symbolizing the fusion of his physical and spiritual essence. Get latest CHDRs on NVE/LBJ/N.C/M. Now, his spiritual energy surged to a formidable level, capable of quelling entire armies of King Realm warriors. This unforeseen enhancement surpassed his expectations, delivering an unprecedented advantage. Yet, there was more. Wang Jian discovered newfound immunity to attacks from insect-type beasts and the disorienting effects of illusionary assaults. However, the most remarkable boon bestowed upon him in this extraordinary moment was the staggering increase in his luck. What had once hovered near the threshold of 50,000 now skyrocketed to a staggering 121,000, transforming his fortune into an unstoppable force. His boost in luck had caused his enchantment ability to level up at this moment. Firstly, if the target has much higher luck than the user, there is now a 30% chance of increasing the target's positive feelings towards the user to 50. Secondly, if the target has luck equal to or below the user's, the enchantment ability will instantly increase their favorability towards the user to 60. The cooldown of this skill is now 1 month. And the last was the massive number of destiny points that Wang Jian had received from the system. The staggering number reached 2.6 million destiny points. This meant that after combining it with his nearly 400,000 destiny points, Wang Jian now held more than 3 million destiny points. This caused Wang Jian's eyes to flicker with depraved desire as he understood that these staggering number of destiny points that he received were merely from receiving Stella's kiss on his hand and her mark. If he ever received her first kiss or took her virginity, there was really no telling the number of points he would earn. Naturally, the connection between them didn't just give advantages to Wang Jian, as Stella's luck rose sharply as well, and for some reason, her insights in wind element rose sharply as well. It had now reached the peak level before even surpassing it, and she gained enlightenment in a wind elemental domain. This domain was known as Zephyr's Tranquil Empyrean Sanctuary. Through this domain, Stella could manipulate the vibrations and frequencies present in the air, transforming them into ethereal whispers of unparalleled potency. These potent whispers of wind could affect the opponent greatly by slowing him down or attacking him with invisible wind blades created through vibrations. Moreover, these vibrations and frequencies would allow Stella to sense her enemy so acutely that she could easily anticipate his moves. Status: Name: Wang Jian. Age: 20 years old. Destiny points: 3,012,613. Cultivation: 3rd stage of the King Realm. Require 100,000 destiny points for each stage. Cultivation technique: Soaring Dragon Technique, level 5, requires 2 million destiny points to level up. Skills: Origin Fist, Beam of Destruction, Mystic Force, Divine Shielding Iron Body, Enhanced Strength, Spiritual Sensitivity, Moonrise Fist, Lunar Shield, Moonshadow Step, Eclipse Domain Annihilation, Black Castle, Elemental Genius, Dragon's Prestige, Level 3, Enchantment Ability, Level 2, Art of Purification, Charismatic Magnetism, Enchanting Pheromones, Blissful Touch, Shadow Meld, Een Manipulation, Een Enhancement, and Devil Devouring Bloodline Ability. Note: the Shadow Manipulation and Dark Fog abilities will now be combined with Shadow Meld technique. The Tranquil Mind Divine Mantra will no longer be necessary because the Blue Moon Eclipse Devil Bloodline will be concealed by the Chaotic Young Body. Sword techniques: Starry Night Sky Strike, Serene Moonlight Slash, Swift Silver Stab, Endless Blade Defense, and Flowing Water Guard. Ocular abilities: True Eyes, Level 2, 200,000 destiny points, Abyss Eyes, upgraded along with Bloodline. Bloodline: Blue Moon Eclipse Devil Bloodline. 3rd level, next level, 3 million destiny points. Insight in Laws: Flame, peak level, Lightning, peak level, Earth, peak level, Wind, peak level, Water, peak level, Darkness, peak level, Moon, peak level. Sword: Nil, 200,000 destiny points, Space: Nil, 1 million destiny points. Domains: Flame, Scorching Solar Incineration Domain, Lightning, Nil, 10 million destiny points, Earth, Nil, 10 million destiny points, Wind, Nil, 10 million destiny points, Water, Nil, 10 million destiny points, Moon, Nil, 10 million destiny points, Darkness, Nil, 10 million destiny points. Physique: Chaotic Young Body, 10 million destiny points. Spirit: Solar Storm Tempest Abyss Dragon, 9th Star Spirit, mutated. Weaknesses: Holy Attribute. After several minutes, the ethereal manifestation of the ancestral figure of the butterfly spirit race dissipated, signifying the completion of the sacred ceremony. Hong Meilin, Lady Zhuoran, and Bishi Shuyan were filled with deep gratitude towards Wang Jian, their hearts brimming with the profoundness of the legendary ritual they had just partaken in. Together, they made their way back to the camp, accompanied by Wang Jian. However, as they reached their destination, Hong Meilin's countenance grew melancholic, weighed down by the knowledge that she would soon have to rejoin her church comrades. A sense of sadness enveloped her as she anticipated the onslaught of insults and abuses that she would inevitably face upon her return. Sensitive to her concerns, Wang Jian voiced his worry. "Are you certain you will be all right? You have the option to forego rejoining your group and instead accompany my entourage." I had already intended to discuss this matter with the Pope, ensuring that it is resolved. As Hong Meilin's gaze flickered, she couldn't help but be moved by Wang Jian's thoughtful offer. Gratitude and determination intertwined within her as she mustered her response, her voice a mix of appreciation and resolve. "Thank you for your kind offer, Your Highness. However, I must take my leave now." Wang Jian nodded, understanding the weight of her decision. Before she departed, he reached into his pocket and retrieved a small talisman, handing it to Hong Meilin. "Take this talisman with you. Should you ever encounter any danger, activate it. It will alert me, and I will swiftly come to your aid." Hong Meilin's eyes widened with gratitude as she accepted the talisman. "Thank you, Your Highness," she expressed, her voice filled with sincere appreciation. With the talisman securely held in her grasp, she turned to resume her journey towards her church comrades. Each step she took carried the weight of her bittersweet acceptance of her fate. With Hong Meilin's departure, Wang Jian wasted no time in giving his faction members the command to pack up. The urgency in his voice was evident as he understood the need to swiftly leave the forest behind. Lingering any longer would only expose them to the threat of his ambitious siblings, who were likely already making moves to expand their own factions within the empire. After conveying his orders to his faction, Wang Jian ventured forth alone, leaving his comrades to attend to the task of packing their belongings. He skillfully navigated through the dense forest, guided by a keen sense of direction and purpose. As he neared a specific spot within the forest, the air seemed to shimmer with an enchanting aura. Concealed within the embrace of a powerful illusionary array, the members of the Crimson Cult awaited Wang Jian's arrival. This ingenious camouflage was crafted with such finesse that not even Stella, with all her perceptiveness, could detect their presence. Wang Jian approached the hidden gathering, his voice resonating with determination as he spoke to the unseen figures before him. "The church's group will soon depart. It is imperative that you launch a swift and ruthless assault, eliminating every single one of them and securing the capture of the Saintess." A voice, laced with unwavering loyalty, responded from the concealed surroundings. "We shall execute this task without fail." Satisfied with the exchange, Wang Jian turned on his heels and retraced his steps, making his way back to his faction's side. As the factions led by Wang Jian and the church slowly made their way out of the forest, their paths aligned on the same route. However, a considerable delay separated them, with Wang Jian's faction forging ahead while the church's group lagged behind. Days passed, and the outskirts of the forest came into view. It was at this critical juncture that the Crimson Cult members finally unleashed their long-awaited assault. Why was Wang Jian so certain of this moment? The answer lay in the signal he received through the talisman entrusted to Hong Meilin. However, there was one vital detail he had withheld from her. Once activated, the talisman encased her within an intense energy bubble infused with the peak insights of his water attribute. This impenetrable bubble could only be shattered if the combined might of the Crimson Cult members relentlessly attacked it for 4 consecutive hours. Thankfully, Wang Jian had anticipated the timing and raced to Hong Meilin's aid, utilizing his Moonshadow Step, a technique blending the laws of moon and darkness, enabling him to glide through the air soundlessly. His incredible speed propelled him towards the Crimson Cult's assault site in a matter of minutes. A powerful barrier, radiating a vibrant shade of red, stood erected as the Crimson Cult members clashed with the church's experts. The most up-to-date NVELs are published on n0velgen.co/m. The gravity of the situation was palpable, etching grave expressions on the faces of the church's members. The toll of the relentless onslaught was evident, with most of their comrades already lying slain. Amidst the chaos, the surviving members of the church's group vented their frustration and anger towards Hong Meilin, unaware of her safety within the impregnable water bubble. Their insults and abuses rained down upon her relentlessly, accusing her of being a selfish woman who only cared for her own life. As death loomed closer, they seized the opportunity to blame her for their impending doom, hurling the most venomous words imaginable. Hong Meilin clenched her teeth, her tears mingling with her anguished cries. The revelation that activating the talisman had ensnared her within the watery prison struck her with a heart-wrenching blow. She understood Wang Jian's motive for keeping this information hidden, knowing that had she been aware, she would have refrained from activating the talisman. His silence served as a shield to protect her life. However, the agony of being trapped within the bubble surpassed the physical onslaught she might have faced from the Crimson Cult members. Helpless, she could only bear witness as her comrades fell one by one, their lives extinguished by the relentless hands of their enemies. Wang Jian, his arrival swift and unnoticed, observed the unfolding massacre with a sinister glint in his eyes. He withheld his intervention, waiting with calculated patience for the Crimson Cult members to complete their ruthless mission, annihilating every last member of the church's group. The sinister satisfaction that danced within his gaze betrayed the depths of his malevolence. In a calculated display of ruthlessness, the Crimson Cult members unleashed a relentless barrage of powerful attacks, augmented by weapons laced with deadly poisons. Their insidious strategy bore fruit, swiftly claiming the lives of the church members. Within a span of just a couple of hours, Wang Jian bore witness to the seemingly complete slaughter of the church's faction. A few desperate souls attempted to flee, hoping to salvage their lives, but their efforts proved futile. The Crimson Cult members, ever vigilant, hunted down any who dared to escape. With their primary objective accomplished, the Crimson Cult now turned their attention to assaulting the protective water barrier enfolding Hong Meilin. Their aim was to capture her and transport her to their secret stronghold, marking a significant triumph for their twisted cause. Anxiety gnawed at Hong Meilin's core as she observed the relentless assault on the water bubble surrounding her. Though the barrier held firm, enduring the onslaught of the Crimson Cult warriors, her innate connection to the water element allowed her to sense its diminishing strength. She possessed the ability to faintly manipulate the water bubble and escape its confines, yet she hesitated. With all her comrades already fallen, she questioned the futility of emerging from the bubble's shelter. It seemed wiser to await the arrival of Wang Jian. Her patience was rewarded sooner than anticipated. After a mere 10 minutes, a breathtaking event unfolded before her eyes. An aura suffused with hues of vibrant orange swept across the area, accompanied by sudden eruptions of flames that encircled their surroundings. It was none other than Wang Jian's scorching solar incineration domain, encapsulating the entire location. Now that the Crimson Cult members had fulfilled the tasks assigned to them, they had outlived their usefulness in Wang Jian's grand scheme. It was time to eliminate them, and the blazing domain was the instrument of their demise. You will pay for your wicked actions. Wang Jian's furious voice resounded in the area. In a moment of overwhelming joy, Hong Meilin's heart swelled as she beheld Wang Jian's striking countenance, charging fearlessly into the fray. The orange aura intertwined with dancing flames emitted by his being exuded an unfamiliar power, filling her with an inexplicable sense of confidence. The notion that Wang Jian had attained insight into a domain while still a King Realm expert never crossed her mind, as it defied her knowledge and experience. At this crucial juncture, Hong Meilin found solace in Wang Jian's presence. She believed that with him by her side, everything would be set right. She knew she could survive, and she trusted that Wang Jian would exact vengeance for the fallen church members, victims of the sinister Crimson Cult. The members of the Crimson Cult, confronted with Wang Jian's unexpected appearance and ambiguous words, found themselves perplexed and bewildered. This very task had been assigned by Wang Jian himself, yet his current stance suggested an impending confrontation with them. Before anyone could voice their confusion, the entire expanse of the scorching solar incineration domain was bombarded with a relentless onslaught of hundreds of fireballs. These lethal projectiles, of considerable size, blanketed the domain, leaving no avenue for escape. The searing heat scorched the air, causing the Crimson Cult experts to experience excruciating pain, their very skin ablaze. Only Hong Meilin and Wang Jian remained protected within the domain, shielded from the relentless assault. In desperation, the Crimson Cult members unleashed their most potent attacks, striving to counter the onslaught of fireballs and preserve their lives. Yet, the ferocity of the fireballs showed no signs of abating. Wang Jian's peak-level insights into the flame element rendered their qi and elemental mastery inadequate for countering his formidable power. A series of deafening explosions echoed through the air, drowning out the agonized screams of the Crimson Cult members as they were reduced to nothing more than charred remnants by the onslaught of the fiery projectiles. Having dispatched their enemies with swift and decisive action, Wang Jian dispelled the water bubble that had imprisoned Hong Meilin, freeing her from its confinements. With a tender expression adorning his face, he approached her, and she drew nearer, clutching his hand tightly as she poured out her heartfelt gratitude. "Thank you," she whispered, her voice brimming with genuine emotion. "If it weren't for you, I don't know what fate would have befallen me. I could never have avenged the lives of my fallen comrades." Wang Jian gently pulled her into an embrace, his touch soothing as he caressed her back, seeking to calm her trembling form. "I regret my tardiness, my inability to reach you and save your comrades sooner," he confessed, his voice tinged with remorse. "And I apologize for not disclosing the existence of the protective water bubble that would envelop you upon activating the talisman. But you must understand, from my perspective, I couldn't bear the thought of anything happening to you." Her eyes welling with gratitude and understanding, Hong Meilin softly murmured, "Your Highness, I don't mind. Truly, I don't. My heart is filled with nothing but gratitude for you." As their hug gradually loosened, their gazes locked onto one another, a profound connection forming between them. Drawn inexorably closer, Wang Jian's lips hovered tantalizingly close to Hong Meilin's, and with an intensity that took her by surprise, he kissed her. It was a fervent and passionate kiss, and to her own astonishment, she could not resist it, but instead allowed herself to be consumed by its ardor. In that fleeting moment, Wang Jian had a mischievous glint in his eyes as he subtly gauged Hong Meilin's response. He had deliberately refrained from utilizing any of his techniques, wanting to test her reaction, confident that the timing was perfect. Even if his little test had failed, he had a contingency plan in mind. He would have effortlessly employed his techniques and still shared a passionate kiss with Hong Meilin. It was a deviously foolproof scheme, meticulously crafted within the recesses of his mind. But as their lips melded together, Wang Jian felt a surge of exhilaration. To his delight, Hong Meilin didn't pull away or display any signs of resistance. Instead, she wholeheartedly surrendered herself to the intensity of the moment, embracing the shared passion between them. As their lips reluctantly parted, Wang Jian couldn't contain his delight, a soft smile playing upon his lips. "It seems you have finally made up your mind about our relationship. Your response fills me with genuine happiness," he whispered, his voice tinged with affection. Hong Meilin's voice carried a tender vulnerability as she replied, "I cannot deny these feelings, Your Highness. It's a truth I can no longer suppress. I have fallen for you, and it would be futile to resist." With their hands interlocked, Wang Jian gently guided Hong Meilin towards their next destination. "Come, let us gather your belongings and make our way to my faction's camp, which lies farther ahead. I had to employ my swiftest technique to reach you once I received your signal," he explained, his tone laced with determination. Together, they moved through the aftermath of the fierce battle, carefully collecting the spatial rings and other precious artifacts left behind by the fallen church comrades. Each item held memories and significance, and Hong Meilin ensured that none were left behind. Once they had secured everything, they resumed their journey towards Wang Jian's faction, their footsteps echoing in harmony. Unknown to Hong Meilin, Wang Jian had deliberately instructed his faction to continue their advance, creating the illusion that they were much farther away. It was a calculated move, intended to enhance Hong Meilin's perception of his efficiency. Wang Jian knew that these subtle details would not go unnoticed by Hong Meilin. By orchestrating such a swift rescue, he aimed to leave a lasting impression, deepening her admiration for him. After a weary journey of 15 long hours, Wang Jian and Hong Meilin finally arrived at the campsite where Wang Jian's faction had set up their temporary abode. As they entered the camp, the members of his faction swarmed around them, their curious gazes filled with anticipation and concern. Eager to know the details, the faction members bombarded Hong Meilin with questions, their voices filled with genuine empathy. Overwhelmed by emotions, Hong Meilin recounted the harrowing events that unfolded in the forest, her voice tinged with sorrow and grief. She spared no details, painting a vivid picture of the Crimson Cult's sudden and brutal assault, and the tragic loss of her comrades. Listening intently, Wang Jian's subordinates absorbed every word, their expressions growing somber with each passing moment. They understood the gravity of the situation and the pain Hong Meilin must have endured. Their hearts went out to her, a collective empathy resonating through their ranks. Sensing the need for solace and respite, Wang Jian took charge, issuing a command that dispersed his subordinates, allowing him to lead Hong Meilin to a secluded and tranquil corner of the camp. The peaceful ambience embraced them, offering a moment of respite from the chaos that had unfolded. As they settled down in the serene surroundings, Wang Jian's voice was gentle and comforting. "Take a moment to gather yourself, Hong Meilin. I know it has been a difficult journey for you, and I admire your strength and resilience. Your comrades will always be remembered." Hong Meilin nodded, her eyes welling up with tears once again. She felt a mixture of gratitude and sorrow, grateful for Wang Jian's understanding and support during this trying time. The weight of her emotions began to lift, knowing she was now in the presence of allies who would stand by her side. In the tranquil atmosphere of the tent, they found solace in each other's presence. "I will take my leave now. Do not hesitate to seek me out should you require any assistance." Wang Jian's voice resonated with courteous grace as he gracefully exited the tent. He understood the significance of granting Hong Meilin some solitary respite, fully aware that the opportune moment for a passionate night would soon occur. Once outside, Wang Jian rendezvoused with Lady Zhuoran, his voice laced with an enticing allure as he extended an invitation for a rendezvous at the stroke of midnight within the confines of his own tent. The mere utterance of those words ignited an electric anticipation within Lady Zhuoran, her heart fluttering with a mix of excitement and eagerness for the intimate night that lay ahead. Unbeknownst to Lady Zhuoran, Wang Jian, driven by a clandestine desire, ventured back to his own tent, issuing a command for a maid to summon Bishi Shuyan. As Bishi Shuyan cautiously entered his domain, her nerves palpable, she could sense the underlying purpose of Wang Jian's summons. With a deep breath, she summoned her courage and stepped further into his tent, her heart racing with both trepidation and a flicker of curiosity. Within the confines of the tent, the atmosphere thickened with an ominous energy. Clothes cascaded to the floor, revealing their bare forms, vulnerable and exposed. CHCK for US to rise on no/v/l/bin.c0m. In a moment devoid of tenderness or empathy, Wang Jian unleashed the depths of his sinister nature. Like a predator pouncing on its prey, he lunged at Bishi Shuyan, his eyes ablaze with depravity and ruthlessness. His actions were fueled by an insatiable hunger, as he relentlessly thrust himself upon her, their bodies entangled in a dance of dominance and submission. With a firm grip on her silver tails, he tugged possessively, exerting his control over her. In this dark symphony of desire, Bishi Shuyan found herself caught between pain and pleasure, her moans mingling with the air. Each thrust from Wang Jian's forceful advances sparked within her a twisted pleasure, a contradiction that twisted her emotions further. As the intensity escalated, her surrender became complete, succumbing to the twisted pleasure that enveloped her being. As the hands of time spun their intricate dance, the hours slipped away unnoticed until the mystical hour of midnight enveloped the world in its clandestine embrace. Bathed in the silver glow of the moon, Lady Zhuoran moved towards Wang Jian's tent. It wasn't until she entered the tent that she came across a shocking sight. Lady Zhuoran stood frozen, her senses assailed by the raw intensity of the scene before her. Her eyes widened, attempting to process the surreal sight that unfolded in the dimly lit chamber. The air grew heavy with a mix of disbelief, anger, and a tumultuous whirlwind of emotions she struggled to contain. There, on the bed, lay her daughter, Bishi Shuyen, bared and vulnerable, entangled in the throes of a passion that defied reason. Wang Jian, his countenance twisted into a sinister grin, ravished her with a ruthless fervor, plunging her into a realm of ecstasy tainted by the shadows of their forbidden desire. Bishi Shuyen, lost in the tempest of pleasure, saw her mother and was extremely scared, but she was powerless to halt the avalanche of sensations that consumed her. A final crescendo of pleasure coursed through her body, causing her to release a primal moan that mingled with the charged atmosphere of the room. Wang Jian, the orchestrator of this dark scenario, reveled in his debauched conquest. His eyes met Lady Zhuoran's, an insidious glint shimmering within them. He relished the torment that etched itself upon her features. "Welcome, my dear. How delightful that you have arrived right on schedule," Wang Jian's sinister voice resonated within the confines of his tent. Lady Zhuoran's voice quivered with a mix of confusion, fury, and deep worry. What is the meaning of this? What are you doing with my daughter?" In a sudden and forceful movement, Wang Jian seized hold of Bishi Shuyan's delicate tail, employing his extraordinary abilities of blessed touch and enchanting pheromones to evoke within her a potent blend of overwhelming pleasure and intense desire. He then forcefully withdrew his pulsating member from the depths of Bishi Shuyan's quivering being, his gaze fixated on Lady Zhuoran with a mixture of arrogance and satisfaction. In a low, menacing voice, he addressed her, "Do you even need to ask? It's quite obvious what I am doing with her. We are indulging in an extraordinary experience, one that brings me immense pleasure." Meanwhile, Bishi Shuyan, her emotions in turmoil, found the courage to question Wang Jian, her voice filled with a mix of curiosity and trepidation. "Your Highness, why would my mother visit you at such a late hour?" With a sinister grin plastered across his face, Wang Jian shifted his attention to Bishi Shuyan, his response laced with wicked amusement. "As for your query, my dear, the answer should be abundantly clear by now. Your mother is here to provide me with the same pleasure you are offering at this very moment. I must admit that she has become quite skilled in the art." Lady Zhuoran's voice trembled with a mix of fury and betrayal as she confronted Wang Jian, her words laced with righteous indignation. "This can't be true. You gave me your word that you would never lay a hand on her as long as I complied with your every demand. I endured every debased request, obeying your every order, but you have shattered your promise." Wang Jian responded with a callous roll of his eyes, his voice dripping with malice. "Oh, my dear, promises are meant to be broken. I simply lied to you, plain and simple. After all, what power did you have to enforce such a vow upon me?" In the midst of the unfolding horror, Bishi Shuyan's realization struck her like a thunderbolt. Her eyes widened in shock as she stared at Wang Jian, her voice quivering with fear. "You deceived me too. You swore that if I followed your commands, you would never lay a hand on my mother." Wang Jian tightened his grip on her silver tail, relishing in the control he held, his laughter filled with a sadistic delight. "Ha ha ha ha. Yes, my dear, both of you were foolish enough to fall for that lie. From the very beginning, my intention was to revel in the pleasures you both offer." Wang Jian's voice dripped with depravity and wickedness as he declared, "It seems we have all reached a common understanding. Now, let us proceed to the next phase of our little gathering." Before Bishi Shuyan or Lady Zhuoran could comprehend his intentions, Wang Jian vanished from the bed, reappearing beside Lady Zhuoran in an instant. With a forceful grip, he threw Lady Zhuoran onto the bed next to her daughter, Bishi Shuyan. "As for the next stage of our meeting, it is only natural to indulge in the pleasure of both of you together. I must confess, this particular act fulfills one of my darkest fantasies," Wang Jian uttered, his voice laced with a sadistic undertone. Lady Zhuoran's face contorted with hatred and disgust as she mustered all her courage to confront Wang Jian. "You are the epitome of depravity. I have never encountered such a repugnant and vile creature in my life." Wang Jian's grin widened, relishing in Lady Zhuoran's revulsion. With deliberate steps, he closed the distance between them, his voice dripping with sadistic amusement. Your words are music to my ears, my dear. But enough with the pleasantries. I'd much rather spend our time engaging in a more intimate form of play. His words sent a shiver down the spines of both women, their fear mingled with a sickening anticipation. Bishi Shuyan's cries of desperation filled the air as she desperately struggled against Wang Jian's iron grip on her mother's dress. She exerted every ounce of strength, but it was fuel against his overpowering force. Explore new levels on nvelby.com. In a single ruthless motion, Wang Jian tore apart Lady Zhuran's dress, gazing at her delicate and alluring form to his twisted gaze. Wang Jian fixed his gaze on Bishi Shuyan, an evil grin spreading across his face. My dear Shuyan, it's time for you to witness the true nature hidden behind your mother's facade. Beneath that dignified visage lies the face of a wanton slut, a slave to my cock, just like you. Bishi Shuyan's eyes blazed with hatred as she glared at Wang Jian, her voice trembling with defiance. No! I refuse to believe it. You must have forced yourself upon my mother. There's no way she would willingly associate with a despicable man like you. Wang Jian's wicked laughter echoed through the room as her words reached his ears. He turned his attention towards Lady Zhuran, a cruel gleam in his eyes as he taunted her. Your daughter places so much trust in you, my dear. Yet, despite her presence, you find yourself becoming aroused, don't you? Does the thought of engaging in sexual acts with me while your beloved daughter watches excite you? Lady Zhuran's eyes widened, and an instinctual urge to shield her exposed intimacy overcame her. Her face flushed with embarrassment, her body betraying her desires as it grew hotter and more fervent with each passing moment. Even in the face of her daughter's presence, even knowing Wang Jian's wickedness, her body yearned for his immense, erect member. She craved it, longing for it to be buried deep inside her right then and there. And no. I refuse to be excited by the likes of you, you despicable bastard, Lady Zhuran responded, her voice a blend of resolve and vulnerability. It was a conflicted mixture of defiance and weakness. Wang Jian's sinister smile broadened, his eyes dancing with malicious delight as he advanced towards Lady Zhuran. Oh, my dear Lady Zhuran, your words may attempt to conceal it, but your body speaks volumes. In a swift, unexpected motion, his fingers found their way to Lady Zhuran's perky nipples, giving them a firm squeeze. Her reaction was immediate, a resounding moan escaped her lips, betraying the pleasure coursing through her veins. A rush of liquid gushed forth from her pulsating core, a telltale sign of her overwhelming arousal. Bishi Shuyan stood rooted to the spot, her eyes widening in disbelief at the sight before her. Mother! What are you doing? She couldn't fathom the depths of her mother's excitement in such a situation. Wang Jian sneered, his voice dripping with condescension. Who are you to judge your mother? Without hesitation, he turned his attention to Bishi Shuyan, his grip now finding her delicate nipples, pinching, and even yanking them. As if in sync with Lady Zhuran's response, Bishi Shuyan's moans of forbidden pleasure filled the room, mingling with the symphony of their escalating desires. Her innermost sanctum drenched in intoxicating wetness, releasing a gush of arousal that spoke volumes of her surrender to Wang Jian's twisted influence. Unbeknownst to the women, their heightened arousal was not solely a result of their own desires. Wang Jian had employed his nefarious abilities, such as the potent bliss touch and enchanting pheromones, manipulating their bodies to succumb to ever-increasing waves of passion and lust. In a moment of sinister triumph, Wang Jian positioned himself on the bed, his firm grasp encircling Bishi Shuyan's alluring curves with one hand, while the other hand claimed Lady Zhuran's seductive form. His throbbing shaft brushed against the tantalizing curve of Lady Zhuran's buttocks before he plunged it deep inside her drenched and eager entrance. Lady Zhuran's velvety walls welcomed him eagerly, their tight embrace offering no resistance as he delved into her depths. The sensation sent a surge of pleasure coursing through Wang Jian's veins, igniting a primal fire within him. An ecstatic moan escaped Lady Zhuran's lips, her voice a symphony of desire as she felt Wang Jian's length reaching the deepest recesses of her being. Lost in a haze of unrestrained pleasure, she abandoned herself to the overwhelming sensations that consumed her, her mind consumed by a singular focus on the intoxicating pleasure coursing through her veins. In that moment, shame and embarrassment were eclipsed by the all-consuming pursuit of pleasure. Lady Zhuran's awareness of her daughter's presence faded into the background as she surrendered to the carnal symphony playing out in her body, her every movement an expression of primal need and unadulterated passion. As Wang Jian's throbbing member thrust deep into Lady Zhuran's velvety depths, his hands and mouth embarked on an insatiable exploration of pleasure. With skillful precision, his hands roamed over Bishi Shuyan's luscious curves, grasping, squeezing, and teasing her supple breasts, drawing forth gasps of both shame and illicit delight. His lips descended upon the tender expanse of Bishi Shuyan's bosom, devouring the mounds of flesh with an unrestrained hunger. With each bite upon her pert nipples, waves of conflicting sensations washed over her, a heady blend of shame mingling with the intoxicating currents of pleasure. Within the intimate confines of Wang Jian's tent, an enchanting symphony of passion unfolded. The air pulsated with the symphony of their moans, their fervent cries intertwining in a sultry dance. The room became a sanctuary of unabashed desire, as Wang Jian reveled in the profound ecstasy of his encounters with these captivating women. Throughout the entire night, Wang Jian orchestrated a symphony of pleasure, skillfully alternating between Lady Zhuran and Bishi Shuyan, ensuring their complete surrender to their most primal desires. His method was a calculated mental dismantling, eradicating any trace of embarrassment or reservation lurking within their deepest recesses. He achieved this by compelling them to beg at their most vulnerable moments. When Lady Zhuran teetered on the brink of release, he deliberately withdrew his engorged member from her dripping depths. Lost in the haze of overwhelming pleasure, Lady Zhuran instinctively voiced her complaint, unable to comprehend why he denied her the final fulfillment. "Why would you pull out now?" she inquired, her voice laced with desperation. Wang Jian responded with a firm yet sensual spank upon her voluptuous buttocks, an act that elicited a moan of pleasure rather than a cry of pain. It was not a punishment, but a reward, igniting Lady Zhuran's desire even further. Uttering his command in a domineering tone, he growled, "You better beg for it then." With a depraved glimmer in her eyes, Lady Zhuran relinquished all inhibitions and shamelessly shouted, "Please! I yearn for your large cock inside me, master. Plunge that magnificent thing into me, just as you always do." Her pleas were met with more forceful spanks on her quivering flesh, causing Lady Zhuran's cries of pleasure to reverberate through the room. Gripping Lady Zhuran's hair tightly, Wang Jian forced her to meet Bishi Shuyan's gaze, commanding her to beg while under the scrutinizing eyes of her daughter. "Beg me while looking at her face. Show her that you are nothing but a slave to my cock." In that moment, Lady Zhuran's mind burned with an insatiable craving for his manhood, overpowering any lingering self-consciousness as she shamelessly beseeched him. "Please, master, plunge your throbbing member inside me." In truth, Lady Zhuran's shameless pleas in this moment were a result of Wang Jian's repeated rounds of rough sex with both women throughout the night. Initially, they were self-aware of each other's presence and held back their moans, driven by embarrassment and a sense of propriety. However, Wang Jian's cunning tricks allowed him to exploit their vulnerabilities, unleashing waves of embarrassment that intertwined with their burgeoning desires. Wang Jian strategically exposed Lady Zhuran and Bishi Shuyan to each other's intimate moments, desensitizing them to the presence of another witness. He skillfully manipulated their minds, shaping their perception to believe such scenes were perfectly ordinary. At this juncture, Lady Zhuran felt as if she had relinquished every ounce of her dignity in front of Bishi Shuyan. With her sense of self stripped away, she resolved to embrace the pursuit of mind-blowing pleasure without reservation. Wang Jian's utilization of the blissful touch and enchanting pheromones played a pivotal role in heightening the lust within both women. Their desires became all-consuming, eradicating any constraints or inhibitions that might hinder their pursuit of ecstasy. What unfolded between Wang Jian and Lady Zhuoran was replicated with equal intensity and passion between him and Bishi Shuyan. Wang Jian skillfully suppressed any signs of resistance or humiliation, ensuring that only unadulterated, mind-blowing pleasure occupied their thoughts. By the time the sun began its ascent, both women actively engaged their bodies in pleasuring Wang Jian. They reveled in the exploration of sensations, driven by an insatiable desire to bring him unparalleled satisfaction. Notably, Wang Jian voluntarily ceased employing his manipulative techniques an hour before dawn. This signaled that their minds, although deeply corrupted, had regained control. Yet, in their depravity, they no longer cared about each other's presence. Their sole focus centered on extracting pleasure and bestowing euphoria upon Wang Jian. This grim realization underscored the extent to which Wang Jian had shattered their minds, rendering them docile and enslaved to their carnal desires. Wang Jian, Lady Zhuoran, and Bishi Shuyan slumbered through the morning, only awakening in the sultry embrace of the afternoon. Wang Jian rose to find himself flanked by two enchanting silver-tailed fox beauties, their naked forms adding to the seductive tableau. Both Lady Zhuoran and Bishi Shuyan kept their heads bowed, unable to meet each other's gaze, the weight of their shared memories and debauched actions weighing heavily on their minds. Interrupting their contemplation, Wang Jian spoke, his voice carrying a mix of satisfaction and anticipation. That was an extraordinary night. And there will be countless more to come. Lady Zhuoran, her voice tinged with bitterness and resignation, couldn't suppress her words any longer. Why you? Why? I was content to serve you. But now, you've utterly humiliated me in front of my daughter. I can't face her without this overwhelming shame. Her tone conveyed not anger, but the acceptance of a woman who had resigned herself to her fate. Wang Jian's lips curled into a depraved and wicked smile as he responded, the complicated relationship between you two added an extra layer of temptation and excitement for me. Explore new ovals on nvelbai.com. Rising to his feet, his eyes fixed on the two naked women, he continued with a sinister glint in his gaze, as for facing each other, I'll grant you some time alone to converse. Settle your affairs. But remember this, there is no escape from me. You are both my maids, bound to obey my every command. These nights will repeat endlessly, and you better perform with fervor. Should you falter, rest assured, I will exact punishment on the other. Lady Zhuoran, I know your deep love for your daughter. Surely, you wouldn't want her to suffer. And Bishi Shuyan, I am well aware of the profound affection you hold for your mother. So, I implore you both to give your utmost, ensuring their safety. Kikik. A chilling tremor coursed through their very beings as those words reverberated in the air. Wang Jian, now dressed, left the tent, leaving Bishi Shuyan and Lady Zhuoran to confront the aftermath of their nightmarish encounter. In the wake of Wang Jian's departure, Bishi Shuyan's voice quivered with remorse as she whimpered, "Mother. I'm so sorry. I never imagined he would subject you to such shame even after I complied with his every demand, even surrendering my body to satisfy his desires. I even utilized my unique ability to procure treasures for him, yet this is the cruel fate we face." Lady Zhuoran, moved by her daughter's apology, lifted her head and embraced her tightly, her voice filled with raw emotion. "My dear, it is I who should apologize to you. I should have known better than to trust this wicked man to honor his word. No matter what he wanted to do to me, I would have endured it willingly, but I never thought he would subject you to such cruelty. My precious daughter, this evil man has truly inflicted unimaginable torment upon you." Bishi Shuyan wept unabashedly in her mother's comforting embrace, finding solace in their shared pain. As the tears flowed, Bishi Shuyan couldn't help but ask, her voice quivering, "What should we do now, mother?" Lady Zhuoran's tone turned bitter, laced with resignation. "I have no choice but to continue obeying his commands. I cannot allow him to harm you, my beloved daughter. You needn't abide by his demands any longer. I know he has a twisted fascination with my body, and even if you refuse, he won't harm me. Bishi Shuyan pulled away from her mother's embrace, her gaze piercing into Lady Zhuran's eyes with determination. No, mother. I cannot let you shoulder this risk alone. I would rather endure his wickedness with my body than risk your safety. Shuyan, listen to me. You mustn't be entangled in this any further. Lady Zhuran spoke with unwavering resolve. Bishi Shuyan's response matched her mother's conviction. I have no choice. If he desires me, he can take me at any moment. Neither of us possesses the means to resist him now. Those words rang with a sobering truth, piercing Lady Zhuran's consciousness. Horror etched upon her features, Lady Zhuran muttered under her breath, her voice trembling, then it seems we have but one path left, to serve him wholeheartedly. Yes, mother. It is the only path left to us, Bishi Shuyan affirmed resolutely. Their rapid agreement stemmed from a deeper truth. Buried within their minds, a craving for that intoxicating and addictive pleasure had taken hold. They had convinced themselves that if escape was impossible, they would strive to derive pleasure from their servitude. This was precisely the mindset Wang Jian had intended to instill in them. Clad in their attire, the two women emerged from the tent, only to be greeted by the unexpected sight of Wang Jian awaiting their presence. A sinister grin danced upon his lips, tinged with a twisted and depraved allure. He wasted no time in addressing them, his voice laced with wicked intent. Ah, so you've had your heart-to-heart conversation, I presume? I trust all lingering sentiments have been resolved, for I demand unwavering obedience from both of you. With a touch of trepidation, Lady Zhuran stepped forward, her voice steady. Indeed, Your Highness. We have reached a resolute decision. We shall dedicate ourselves to serving you. There was an air of surrender in her words, a surrender born out of the dark and twisted web that Wang Jian had intricately woven around their lives. You both reached this conclusion rather swiftly. I must admit, I had expected to exert more persuasion over the course of several nights. Wang Jian's voice dripped with a perverse delight, his depraved grin expanding further. Both women trembled at his words, their faces etched with a mixture of fury and bitterness, yet Wang Jian remained indifferent to their reactions. Go on, depart for now. I will summon you when I require your presence, he commanded dismissively, his gaze fixated on Bishi Shuyan. And as for you, Wang Jian focused his attention on her, his tone laced with a chilling warning, ensure you fulfill your duties in assisting me in uncovering valuable treasures. I trust you understand the consequences of failing me, my dear. Bishi Shuyan's expression conveyed utter resignation, a semblance of defeat clouding her features as she responded in a subdued manner, Yes, Your Highness. I shall not falter in my endeavors to meet your expectations. Very well, go now, Wang Jian commanded, and so the mother-daughter duo reluctantly made their way from his presence, their bodies bearing the weight of their recent encounters. Meanwhile, Wang Jian proceeded towards Hong Meilin's tent, determined to check on her well-being. Having spent a sleepless night grappling with the loss of her comrades, Hong Meilin had succumbed to exhaustion and slumbered through the morning. Meilin, are you awake? Wang Jian called out, his voice projecting a mix of concern and authority. A soft reply emanated from within the tent, Yes, Your Highness. Please come inside. Stepping into her tent, Wang Jian's gaze fixated upon Hong Meilin's ethereal yet alluring form, draped in her nightdress. I came to inquire about your well-being. My subordinates informed me that you haven't had breakfast or even lunch yet. Come outside and join me for a meal, Wang Jian proposed, his tone laced with genuine concern. I don't feel like eating right now, Your Highness, Hong Meilin responded weakly, her voice barely audible. Asserting his authority, Wang Jian's voice grew more forceful. No. You will join me and nourish yourself. I understand your anguish, but neglecting your health or tormenting yourself serves no purpose. Taking a step closer, he extended his hand towards her, his eyes glinting with a mix of dominance and desire. Come, take my hand. Hong Meilin mustered a feeble smile, her grip on his hand delicate yet appreciative, as she rose slowly to her feet. Grateful for his presence, she whispered softly, "Thank you for standing by my side, Your Highness." Wang Jian's smirk widened, a mischievous gleam in his eyes, as he leaned closer, his lips tantalizingly close to Hong Meilin's, while his hands began their exploration of her enticing form. Employing his blissful touch, he ensured that Hong Meilin experienced an exquisite euphoria at that very moment, immersing her in a state of pure delight. As their lips reluctantly parted, a flicker of hesitation glimmered in Hong Meilin's eyes as she softly murmured, "Being in your presence brings me immeasurable joy, Your Highness. Change out of your night dress and join me for lunch." "We'll be moving from this location soon," Wang Jian instructed. "Yes, Your Highness," Hong Meilin responded with a genuine sense of delight. Wang Jian exited her tent and made his way to the pavilion where a sumptuous feast awaited. Lady Zhuoran and Bishi Shuyan soon joined him, their attire transformed from the scandalous night dresses of the previous night to elegant and resplendent garments. To any onlooker, it would be inconceivable that these two women had spent the night consumed by pleasure under Wang Jian's touch. In due course, Hong Meilin arrived, adorned in a refined and graceful dress. Taking her place beside Wang Jian, she began partaking in the delectable spread before her. Lady Zhuoran and Bishi Shuyan couldn't help but gape at Hong Meilin in utter disbelief. How could this woman sit next to Wang Jian so nonchalantly? In their eyes, Wang Jian was an epitome of sinister depravity. Yet, this woman appeared oblivious to it all. Wang Jian cast an amused gaze upon Lady Zhuoran and Bishi Shuyan, their faces instantly drenched in perspiration. His unsettling smile sent a shiver coursing down their spines, compelling them to hurriedly divert their attention to the food before them and eat with a fervent pace. As Wang Jian's faction continued their journey, their pace remained steady. After covering a considerable distance, they halted for a break, recognizing that traveling through the night would impede the rest their members required. Throughout the entire ride, Wang Jian shared the same horse with Hong Meilin, engaging her in conversation and successfully coaxing her to open up. She confided in him about her apprehensions regarding facing the Pope and her fear of being blamed by the Church's followers upon their return to the cathedral. Wang Jian slowly reassured her, assuring her that everything would be fine. He emphasized that she didn't need the Church's validation, as he would always stand by her side. "In a way, it's fortunate that no one can reveal the truth about our relationship," Wang Jian remarked playfully. His words prompted Hong Meilin to punch him jokingly and lightly, pouting cutely. "You shouldn't mock the deceased," she retorted. "But what can I say? I must be truly blessed by fate," Wang Jian responded with a jest. Hong Meilin humphed, turning her head away. Wang Jian chuckled, his arms encircling her waist as he whispered into her ear, "Honestly, I never cared for any of those mindless fools. You were the only one I truly liked. It saddens me to see the Church exploit you so shamelessly." Hong Meilin blushed slightly, feeling a tinge of embarrassment as Wang Jian openly teased and toyed with her amidst the other members of his faction. Nonetheless, she suppressed her embarrassment and replied, "But Your Highness, I was raised in the Church. I can't help but feel grateful to them for nurturing me." "Humph. It is they who should consider themselves fortunate to have raised someone like you," Wang Jian whispered. "Get your Avrite ovals at no/v/e/lbn.com. Although Hong Meilin didn't openly admit it, his words filled her with immense joy. "Please, Your Highness, refrain from speaking ill of them," Hong Meilin responded politely. The price for such a request is a passionate kiss," Wang Jian teased. As those words left his lips, memories flooded Hong Meilin's mind, reminding her of the unconventional beginning of their relationship. So much had transpired since then, and she never could have fathomed that she would willingly share such intimate kisses with Wang Jian, filled with profound love and fiery passion. As the journey progressed, Wang Jian followed his routine of summoning Bishi Shuyan and Lady Zhuoran during the nights, indulging in intimate and seductive encounters with both of them. Each encounter shattered their minds anew, deepening their infatuation with the intoxicating ecstasy that only he could provide. The following days were spent with Hong Meilin, the two of them sharing the same horse and engaging in heartfelt conversations. This schedule repeated for 4 more days until they finally emerged from the depths of the forest. After today's rest, Hong Meilin had made the decision to part ways with Wang Jian's faction and continue her journey towards the cathedral. It was a choice she had made for herself, despite the lingering attachment she felt towards Wang Jian. During this time, Bishi Shuyan and Lady Zhuoran had completely surrendered themselves, body, mind, and soul, to Wang Jian's control. They no longer flinched or displayed any discomfort when witnessing each other entwined around Wang Jian, lost in pleasurable moans, or engaged in fiery moments of intimacy. They had become slaves to their desires, willingly immersed in the world of pleasure he offered. Having successfully broken Bishi Shuyan and Lady Zhuoran's mental barriers, Wang Jian felt that the time had come for his first intimate night of passion with Hong Meilin. Under the moonlit sky, Wang Jian led Hong Meilin to her tent, their growing closeness making the choice seem natural and expected. Little did she know, Wang Jian's true intentions were far from innocent. Theta M with a single step forward, Wang Jian enveloped Hong Meilin in a tight embrace, catching her off guard. Reacting swiftly, she turned to face him, their eyes locking in a moment of anticipation. Wang Jian claimed her lips with his own, their mouths melding in a fervent kiss. His hands, filled with purpose, caressed the delicate fabric of her dress, skillfully undoing its fastenings. As Hong Meilin felt the initial resistance building within her, she hesitated, pulling away. Their lips parted, and she found herself reclining on the bed, her gaze fixated on Wang Jian. A mixture of desire and uncertainty flickered in her eyes. I can't go through with this, Your Highness, she protested, her voice laced with apprehension. As a saintess of the church, they will never accept me if they discover that I have lost my virginity. Wang Jian's smirk deepened, his eyes gleaming with a mischievous glint. My dear, you won't be losing your purity, he assured her, his voice laden with confidence. This is simply the law of nature, and you will be following it. Hong Meilin responded hesitantly, her words tinged with doubt. The Pope would never condone such actions. He would surely admonish me and perhaps even cast me out of the church. I will convince him. Leave that to me, my dear, Wang Jian concluded this discussion with those words. Wang Jian then shed his shirt, a subtle display of his masculine allure. He activated his enchanting pheromone skill, releasing an intoxicating aroma that ignited Hong Meilin's desire. Simultaneously, the blissful touch technique was employed, sending waves of exquisite pleasure cascading through her mind. Before long, Wang Jian found himself on the bed, his body pressed against Hong Meilin's, their lips intertwining once more. The room filled with a feverish heat as their desires mingled, fueled by Wang Jian's seductive prowess. In the throes of passion, Hong Meilin yielded to the intoxicating inferno that consumed her. Her nimble fingers hastily undid the fastenings of her dress, discarding the fabric with a sense of urgency. A wicked smirk played upon Wang Jian's lips, his eyes feasting upon the alluring sight of Hong Meilin's naked form. In that moment, she laid before him a vision of seductive beauty unveiled only for him to behold. As his gaze roved over her exposed curves, Wang Jian's voice resonated with a low, sultry tone. Despite your status as a saintess, your body can really force a man to commit a sin, he murmured, his words laced with a potent mixture of desire and possessiveness. Hong Meilin's breath hitched, her heart pounding in her chest. She blushed under his intense scrutiny, her vulnerability exposed in this intimate moment. Her voice, barely above a whisper, carried a hint of anticipation as she responded, "I am yours, Your Highness. Only yours." Their bodies drawn together like magnets, Wang Jian leaned in to capture her lips once more. Their passionate embrace deepened, each kiss a testament to their shared longing and forbidden connection. Wang Jian's hands explored every curve of Hong Meiling's voluptuous form, kindling a symphony of pleasurable moans and gasps. The blissful touch technique showcased its full prowess as Hong Meiling's countenance became a radiant display of joy. In the heat of the moment, Wang Jian's arousal strained against the confines of his pants, urging him to shed their restraints and reveal his engorged manhood to Hong Meiling's eager gaze. Hong Meilin was captivated by the sight before her. It was her very first encounter with such a magnificent cock, and she couldn't help but feel her heart race with anticipation, her pussy growing wet with an intoxicating mix of excitement and desire. Amidst the exhilaration, a flicker of concern fluttered in the depths of Hong Meiling's thoughts. She voiced her uncertainty, her voice trembling, "Will it truly fit inside me?" With a devious smile adorning his face, Wang Jian leaned in, his voice laced with assurance, "It most certainly will. Trust in me, for I possess vast experience in matters such as these." Hong Meiling's smile bloomed, and she playfully nudged Wang Jian's chest, her voice teasingly commanding, "Don't let your thoughts wander to any other woman. Tonight, I should be the only one on your mind and body." Wang Jian's gaze intensified, his smile wickedly enchanting, as he drew himself closer to Hong Meiling's face, his words dripping with desire, "Then, my dear, you better show me your passion." In a heartbeat, their lips collided, sealing their desires in a fervent kiss. Hong Meiling's arms and legs wrapped around Wang Jian, her ample breasts pressing against his chest, their erogenous peaks brushing against his skin, igniting waves of pleasure that consumed her entire being. Simultaneously enthralled by her fervent actions, Wang Jian's hands found their place on her firm buttocks, securing his grip before teasingly guiding his pulsating member to graze against the entrance of her hungry pussy, creating an intoxicating dance of anticipation and yearning. As their lips reluctantly parted, a faint tremor of worry colored Hong Meiling's voice, her words a delicate plea, "Please, be gentle." A mischievous smirk danced across Wang Jian's face as he responded, his voice dripping with assurance, "Fear not, my dear. I shall be gentle. But do know that this won't make it any easier." With tantalizing slowness, Wang Jian's rigid member began its descent into Hong Meiling's eager and slick pussy. Despite the heightened arousal and abundant wetness, the sheer girth and size of Wang Jian's cock posed an enticing yet formidable obstacle. Hong Meiling's delicate folds stretched and accommodated the intrusion, a mixture of discomfort and anticipation coursing through her. As Wang Jian's impressive length penetrated her, her body instinctively clenched in response, blood trickling from her virgin pussy, mingling the bittersweet sensations of pain and pleasure. An involuntary cry escaped Hong Meiling's lips, a fleeting moment of agony marking the beginning of an unparalleled journey. Yet, amidst the sharp twinge, a surge of euphoria surged through her as Wang Jian's throbbing member found its way to the deepest recesses of her womanhood. Simultaneously, Wang Jian's firm grip enveloped Hong Meiling's breasts, his touch eliciting a symphony of sensations. His voice, filled with a heady mixture of delight and desire, punctuated the erotic tableau, "Incredible. You're so tight. This feels absolutely incredible." With a rhythmic and purposeful motion of his hips, Wang Jian initiated a passionate dance, his thrusts expertly choreographed. Hong Meilin and Wang Jian embarked on a journey of unparalleled pleasure, a merging of two bodies consumed by desire. For Hong Meilin, the intensity of pleasure became an overwhelming force, amplified by the enchanting powers of the blissful touch technique. In this moment, the true efficacy of the blissful touch unfolded, and Hong Meiling's consciousness surrendered to the sublime realm of ecstasy, blissfully lost in the ocean of pleasure. Throughout the night, Wang Jian's relentless thrusts into Hong Meiling's eager and wet pussy seemed never-ending. Their bodies entwined in a passionate symphony, they engaged in over 15 rounds of unbridled lovemaking, their desires fueling their intimate dance until the break of dawn. As their bodies, slick with sweat, finally succumbed to exhaustion, Wang Jian and Hong Meilin found solace in each other's arms, their naked forms pressed tightly together. In the tranquility of the aftermath, they indulged in heartfelt conversation, their voices a gentle whisper against the hushed morning air. "You are now mine, Meilin," Wang Jian murmured affectionately, his fingers tenderly caressing her head, the touch evoking a sense of warmth and possessiveness. Hong Meilin responded softly, her voice tinged with devotion, "Yes, Your Highness. To be yours brings me immeasurable joy. I shall endeavor never to disappoint you." Find PT Tez on n/vln.cm. Her words elicited a genuine smile from Wang Jian as his fingers traced delicate patterns along her bare back, his touch invoking a mixture of tenderness and desire. "Dearest Meilin, I have a humble request," Wang Jian's voice grew softer, laden with sincerity. Nestling closer within his embrace, Hong Meilin inquired with a hint of timidity, "What is it, Your Highness?" "I shall strive to fulfill your wishes without question." "Hush, my dear. It is not a command, but a heartfelt plea," Wang Jian reassured, his words evoking a surge of happiness within Hong Meilin. With anticipation in his gaze, Wang Jian revealed his request, "I implore you to refrain from mentioning the Ebon Void essence or to the church." Hong Meilin initially displayed surprise at the unexpected appeal, but soon composed herself, trying to understand the reason behind Wang Jian's request. "May I ask why, Your Highness?" Wang Jian's eyes rolled with exasperation before settling on a resolute gaze as he explained, "It's because I possess a grand vision that necessitates a substantial quantity of this ore. I cannot bear to witness it to be squandered in the hands of the church, devoid of its true potential." Attempting to defend the church, Hong Meilin interjected, "Surely the church will put the ore to good use, Your Highness." With a dismissive gesture, Wang Jian responded, coldness simmering beneath his words, "The church, my dear, will allocate the ore solely for their own purposes, erecting protection and teleportation arrays. Little thought is given to the common folk, rendering the ore practically useless to them. It shall merely serve the whims of the elite." Hong Meilin found herself swayed by Wang Jian's conviction, her gaze locking with his as she raised her head, eager to understand his intentions. "How do you plan to employ it, Your Highness?" A sly grin spread across Wang Jian's face as he playfully answered, "Allow me to offer a hint. It shall revolutionize communication, making it accessible and affordable for all the people within our empire." Hong Meilin's eyes widened in astonishment, the scope of Wang Jian's ambition catching her off guard. "Truly? It will be available to everyone?" With pride and nobility infusing his voice, Wang Jian confirmed, "Indeed." "So, my dear, what is your decision?" Hong Meilin's acquiescence came effortlessly, her resolve unwavering. "If this is your vision, then I shall keep silent about the ore to the church." A smirk of satisfaction graced Wang Jian's lips upon hearing her response. He teasingly remarked, "He. I'm glad you complied so readily. If not, I might have resorted to tormenting you until you gave in." To emphasize his words, Wang Jian mischievously pinched and tugged at Hong Meilin's sensitive nipples, eliciting a symphony of intense pleasure from her lips, intermingled with a vocal declaration of desire. "You truly are a rascal," Hong Meilin whispered, her gaze fixed upon Wang Jian, her love evident in her eyes. "Thank you for loving me so deeply. The moments we've shared shall forever hold a special place in my heart, Your Highness," she murmured, her head nuzzling against Wang Jian's comforting chest. "Why do you speak as though this will be our final encounter?" Wang Jian's voice resonated with dominance, his words carrying an air of certainty. "We shall reunite again in the near future, and this night of unparalleled passion and bliss shall be relived." His commanding tone exerted a magnetic pull on Hong Meilin, compelling her to nod in agreement, unable to resist his charismatic presence. Deep within her, she pondered how the church would react upon discovering her relationship with Wang Jian. Nevertheless, a resolute determination took hold of her. If circumstances demanded it, she vowed to choose love over all else, remaining loyal to Wang Jian while offering her assistance to the church, unburdened by any formal affiliation. On that fateful day, Hong Meilin bid farewell to Wang Jian's faction and hastened towards the nearest branch of the church. Aware of the potential consequences if her loss of virginity were to be revealed to the Pope, she decided to seek refuge in the safety of the branch before eventually returning to the Grand Cathedral. Concerned for Hong Meilin's well-being, Wang Jian couldn't help but harbor worries about her safety. To alleviate his concerns, he assigned a group of formidable Qing realm experts from his faction, excluding the alluring Bishi Shuyan and Lady Zhuoran, to act as her vigilant guardians. Wang Jian's own strength had reached such extraordinary heights that he no longer relied on the protection of Qing realm experts. However, he chose to retain Bishi Shuyan and Lady Zhuoran by his side, not yet satiated by their captivating allure and seeking further indulgence in their bodies to satiate his carnal desires and provide him with added entertainment. With Hong Meilin's departure, Wang Jian decided it was time to accelerate the pace of his faction, swiftly making his way out of the forest and back to his palace. The deliberate slowness he had maintained earlier was a calculated strategy to court Hong Meilin fully, ensuring that his favorability with her reached such heights that the notion of betrayal would be inconceivable. Hong Meilin's favorability towards Wang Jian currently stood at an impressive 80, a testament to his masterful navigation of the situation and his adept utilization of three potent techniques: enchanting pheromones, blissful touch, and charismatic magnetism. For the remainder of the journey, Wang Jian opted to travel in a luxurious carriage, the confines of which housed only three individuals: Wang Jian himself, the enchanting Bishi Shuyan, and the captivating Lady Zhuoran. Within the carriage, a soundproof talisman was activated, sealing them off from prying eyes and ears. Taking full advantage of the privacy, Wang Jian indulged his insatiable carnal desires, tormenting both women relentlessly throughout the journey. His intention was to break their minds so profoundly that there would be no return from the depths of pleasure he bestowed upon them. Their bodies would crave his touch with a fervor bordering on addiction. During Wang Jian's stay in the Butterfly Spirit Race's forest, significant changes took place within the empire. The departure of the prince's factions to the Sacred Dominion had left a void, and it was Wang Jian's faction that seized the opportunity to assert their dominance. Knowing that his siblings' factions would bring their most formidable members on their expedition, Wang Jian recognized that the factions remaining in the empire would be vulnerable with weakened defenses and potentially weak leadership. With the absorption of the latent power of the stellar azure dewdrops, all the women in Wang Jian's faction who had not yet reached the King realm had attained the pinnacle of the Lord realm. They were on the cusp of breaking through to the King realm, needing only to gain further insights into their respective elements. Under the guidance of Su Xian, Meng Xiangyi, and Xiao Ling, disciples were trained, and a grand competition was organized. This competition offered enticing rewards for participation and victory, including a coveted set of equipment, precious pellets, rare resources, and weapons. As the competition was hosted by the talented 7th Princess faction, it garnered significant attention from top-level sects and organizations, compelling them to send representatives. Su Xian presided over the event as Wang Jian's wife, while Xiao Ling and Meng Xiangyi participated under Su Xian's orders. The competition proved to be a resounding success, attracting a multitude of onlookers eager to witness the clashes between renowned sections. Members of Su Xian's group showcased their prowess by defeating disciples from prestigious sects such as the Heavenly Blade sect, Lotus Blossom sect, and even the Celestial Dragon sect. The defeat of these renowned sect's disciples was attributed to a combination of factors, including the absence of their elite disciples accompanying the royal factions to the Sacred Dominion. Meanwhile, Su Xian's faction boasted exceptionally talented experts like Meng Xiangyi and Xiao Ling, who displayed the power of their spirits in the competition. In the meantime, Fan Shuaiying led the Night Dagger clan in spreading terror by killing waves of members of various assassin organizations such as the Black Hand, leaving them in awe of the clan's prowess. This newfound reputation prompted numerous associations to seek connections with them, skyrocketing the Night Dagger clan's business to unprecedented heights. During this eventful period, Kong Huyen and her Crimson Mammoth clan diligently established a formidable defensive lineup to maintain order during the tournament and safeguard the Night Dagger clan's headquarters. Facing numerous attacks from various organizations, the Night Dagger clan's location became known, making them a prime target. However, Kong Huyen's clan, with assistance from Bai Liqin's subordinates, King Realm experts, successfully repelled these assaults, preventing significant damage to Wang Jian's faction. This strategy played a crucial role in safeguarding their interests and asserting Wang Jian's influence within the empire. While Su Xian, Fan Shuiying, and Kong Huyen were focused on gaining favor and popularity among various sects, Han Shifeng embarked on a remarkable endeavor of creating her own religion, all in accordance with Wang Jian's instructions. Wang Jian's allies throughout the empire skillfully propagated the rumors about the extraordinary powers possessed by the heiress of the Miracle Angel tribe. They emphasized that this tribe, which emerged from the treacherous Xinhuan region alongside Wang Jian, wielded mystical abilities and shared a spiritual connection with a divine entity. This spiritual connection was none other than Han Shifeng herself. Convincing the onlookers and the general populace was a relatively simple task, as Han Shifeng only needed to showcase her spirit of the holy angel Amara. By employing her spirit, she openly healed numerous individuals, whether their wounds were physical or spiritual, unveiling the true extent of her genuine power. This captivating display of prowess solidified Han Shifeng's trustworthiness in the eyes of all, catapulting her popularity to unprecedented heights. Although her fame surged primarily within a few cities, it was enough to draw the attention of the church, whose concerns stemmed from the fear that she could potentially pose a significant threat to their religious authority. As fate would have it, Wang Jian's faction found itself engulfed in a tempest of adversity upon the early return of Wang Hao and Wang Ying's factions from the Sacred Dominion. The serene equilibrium shattered, replaced by a storm of challenges. Seizing the opportunity, Wang Hao and Wang Ying swiftly reasserted their authority over their factions, wasting no time in implementing a series of policies that galvanized their followers to take action against Wang Jian's rising influence. Having personally witnessed Wang Jian's awe-inspiring prowess within the Sacred Dominion, both siblings harbored a deep-seated awareness that if he were to unleash his full potential upon the empire, he would undoubtedly emerge as the most formidable contender for the coveted position of the next emperor. Fueled by their trepidation and determined to halt his ascent, they conspired to dismantle his faction before it could fully bloom and present a legitimate threat to their own ambitions. Their assault was relentless, an onslaught of aggression that wreaked havoc upon Wang Jian's loyal allies. Clans, families, sects, and organizations that had aligned themselves with him fell victim to their ruthlessness, their hopes and dreams extinguished in a wave of bloodshed. Yet, despite the ferocity of the combined attacks from Wang Hao and Wang Ying's factions, Wang Jian's faction endured, their survival owed to the unwavering protection provided by Bai Liqin and the formidable experts she had diligently cultivated over the years. Aware that directly confronting Bai Liqin would be a formidable task due to the immense influence wielded by the Bai clan, Wang Hao and Wang Ying recognized the need to employ the political power of their own mothers. They mustered their courage and beseeched their mothers to take action against Bai Liqin, their voices united in a rare show of solidarity. Even the mothers of Wang Hao and Wang Ying hesitated, acutely aware of the Bai clan's significant clout. However, driven by their shared desire to curb Wang Jian's influence, they resolved to implore the emperor himself to suppress Bai Liqin and curtail her support for Wang Jian's faction. To their astonishment, their ploy proved successful, and the emperor, swayed by their arguments, decreed a severe punishment for his beloved wife. Bai Liqin, a woman of indomitable spirit, would be imprisoned within the forbidding confines of the Azure Rock's silent dungeon for an agonizing month. The prospect of such incarceration was nothing short of torment for someone of Bai Liqin's stature. Yet, resolute in her devotion to her son, Wang Jian, she resolved to endure any hardship thrown her way. Before being consigned to her desolate fate, Bai Liqin urgently dispatched messages to her dear friends, beloved relatives, and loyal benefactors, imploring them to muster all their efforts to safeguard her son's faction. She would willingly endure even greater punishment than imprisonment if it meant preserving the fruits of her son's tireless endeavors. But there was more to come. Upon the return of Wang Qin, the enigmatic third prince, and his faction, they swiftly enacted a strategic move that caught even their closest allies off guard: the relocation of their palace. Now, the whereabouts of the third prince's faction were shrouded in secrecy, hidden from prying eyes. Not a soul, not even his most trusted confidants, knew the precise location of their stronghold. To compound matters, the once unbreakable alliance between the third prince and the revered Jade Serpent sect crumbled into dust. In a bold declaration, the sect severed all ties with the enigmatic prince, proclaiming their complete disassociation from his faction. The severed alliance stemmed from an incident that had left an indelible mark on the third prince's trust. It was during a harrowing encounter with formidable demon adversaries that members of the Jade Serpent sect had forsaken him, leaving him to face the dire threat alone. The passage of time acted as a catalyst, and the news of Wang Jian's exceptional talents and his awe-inspiring exploits within the sacred domain of the butterfly spirit race began to trickle throughout the vast expanse of the empire. The people marveled at Wang Jian's extraordinary achievements and the depth of his mastery over the laws of various elements. His combat prowess was hailed as one of the mightiest among the royal princes. Their astonishment knew no bounds when they learned that he had triumphed over Zyrithia, the Nether Curseweaver Devil Princess, a feat that seemed inconceivable but I think you should take a look at. But Wang Jian's triumph didn't end there. He also exposed the true identity of Yi Chen, who had fallen into the clutches of darkness and become a demon. It was no surprise, then, that Wang Jian's faction garnered immense public support. Neutral factions that had remained undecided among the royal princes swiftly rallied behind the seventh prince. Wang Jian's rising popularity, his awe-inspiring combat abilities, and the revelation of his relationship with Hong Meilin all contributed to this groundswell of support. The news of Wang Jian's close bond with Hong Meilin, the revered saintess of the Church of Divine Light, sent shockwaves throughout the empire. The mere idea of a saintess engaging in a romantic entanglement with a man seemed unfathomable. Yet, the rumors and reports of their relationship originated from trusted confidants of the crown prince and the second princess, leaving little room for doubt. The followers of the church were consumed by anger at this scandalous revelation. They vowed to confront Hong Meilin, demanding answers, and pressing her to either sever ties with Wang Jian or publicly refute the rumors surrounding their relationship. The followers were determined to unravel the truth and uphold the sanctity of their beloved saintess. Find PDTES on n/VLN.cm. Amidst the stabilization of the Windhaven Kingdom, Meiyan's Celestial Dragon Sect branch played a crucial role, joining forces with the Windhaven royal family to restore order. Qin Yan, coordinating efforts with Mei Yan, ensured that all organizations, sects, and associations fell in line with her father's commands. However, when news reached Qin Yan about the perilous situation facing Wang Jian's faction in the empire, she wasted no time. Determined to aid her husband's cause, she swiftly assembled a group of experts and set off to lend support. King Qin willingly provided her with the kingdom's top experts for this expedition, though they were limited to King realm expertise and couldn't bring about a significant change. Nonetheless, their presence alleviated some of the pressure. Meanwhile, Lady Xia embarked on a venture of her own. Collaborating with a team of Miracle Angel Tribe members, she established an organization focused on producing a range of extraordinary beauty products and enchanting perfumes. Their first store opened its doors in the capital, offering these exclusive items at a premium price. Crafted using secret methods of the Miracle Angel Tribe and rare herbs, the product's exorbitant prices caused quite a stir among the city dwellers. Realizing that potential customers hesitated due to the steep costs, Lady Xia devised a clever strategy. She decided to offer free trials of their remarkable products, allowing each person the opportunity to experience them once in their lifetime. Curiosity piqued, several women eagerly tested the perfumes and beauty products. The results were nothing short of astonishing, a qualitative transformation that ignited a sensation throughout the city. Suddenly, 7 ordinary-looking women became captivating beauties, their allure so potent it could upend kingdoms. Sensing the opportune moment, Lady Xia unveiled the truth behind these miraculous beauty creations. They were products of the 7th Prince Wang Jian's faction. This revelation sent ripples of excitement and intrigue across the realm, further fueling the anticipation and curiosity surrounding Wang Jian and his faction's endeavors. Lady Xia's organization that specializes in selling exquisite beauty products for women is known as Elysian Blossoms. The name Elysian represents a realm of perfect beauty and bliss, while blossoms evokes the blooming of femininity and the allure of nature's delicate flowers. In a stunning turn of events, the illustrious Elysian Blossoms organization was struck by a devastating blow, a merciless raid carried out by a band of ruthless mercenaries. Swarming into the store like shadows in the night, they pillaged every precious beauty product, leaving behind a trail of shattered dreams and stolen hopes. Within the confines of the store, the courageous workers endured unimaginable torment, their spirits unyielding despite the pain inflicted upon them. They remained tight-lipped, for they were unaware of the hidden location of the precious warehouse. Even the Night Dagger clan members and the Crimson Mammoth tribe, entrusted with protecting Elysian Blossoms, found themselves spread thin, battling to safeguard their own organizations and allies within Wang Jian's faction. But as fate would have it, the tides were about to turn. In the midst of despair, a beacon of hope emerged as Wang Jian, the prodigious 7th prince, returned to his faction. His arrival signaled a resurgence of strength and a determination to reclaim what had been taken. As Wang Jian returned to his faction, his eyes burned with a newfound fury at the sight of the devastation caused by the schemes and political machinations of the Crown Prince, 2nd Princess, and even the 3rd Prince. Gathering his wives, Su Xian and Fin Shuiying, Wang Jian's voice resonated with a chilling determination. We shall not allow them to go unpunished for their audacity in targeting our faction. Yet, it wasn't only the princes that ignited the flames of anger within Wang Jian's heart, but also their conniving mothers who had played a part in orchestrating his mother's unjust punishment. A dark glimmer appeared in his eyes as he contemplated a fitting retribution. With a mixture of vindictiveness and a twisted desire, Wang Jian resolved to forcefully conquer the bodies of the queens and concubines of the emperor. While part of it was driven by his own depraved desires, the main motive was to administer a fitting punishment to those who had dared to act against his beloved mother. In his eyes, this was the most appropriate course of action to ensure they faced the consequences they deserved. Before embarking on his quest for vengeance, Wang Jian made a crucial decision to utilize his precious destiny points to enhance his combat prowess and skills to a whole new level. With fortitude gleaming in his eyes, he commanded the system, "Utilize my destiny points to elevate my cultivation to the Emperor realm." The response from the system was swift and efficient. Requirements for the Emperor realm: attainment of peak-level elemental insight, confirmed. Optional, mastery of a domain, confirmed. While reaching the Emperor realm only required the pinnacle of elemental insight, those who had unlocked a domain could experience a significant boost in their power, as well as the authority over his chosen domain. Wang Jian, however, sought to keep his breakthrough as discreet as possible, avoiding unnecessary attention. Thus, he had chosen a secluded location, far away from his palace, protected by concealment talismans, where he could undergo this momentous breakthrough in secrecy. As the mysterious energy merged with Wang Jian's Dantian, his precious reservoir of destiny points rapidly depleted, fueling the extraordinary transformation unfolding within him. A surge of exhilaration coursed through his being as his cultivation transcended the boundaries of the King realm, ascending to the exalted Emperor realm. With this breakthrough, Wang Jian experienced a profound shift in his senses, elevating them to an unprecedented level. His newfound sensory range expanded, enveloping half of the empire with himself as the epicenter. It was as if the world had opened its doors to him, granting him the ability to discern the elemental affinities of all the experts within his vast reach. This remarkable enhancement was a testament to his refined spiritual sensitivity skill. Moreover, Wang Jian could perceive the unmistakable amplification in the power and scope of his domain. The mastery and control over his domain seemed to have reached new heights, resonating harmoniously with the energies of an Emperor realm expert. As the reverberations of his breakthrough settled, Wang Jian turned his attention to the notifications from the system. Nearly 1.6 million destiny points had been consumed to reach the Emperor realm. However, amidst the sea of notifications, a particular message stood out. It was no ordinary blue box but a blazing red one, signaling a grave warning. Warning! The host's breakthrough to the Emperor realm has activated the complete awakening of the world's essence. A new protagonist has emerged, designated to target the host primarily. Moreover, protagonist Yi Chen's luck has received a significant boost, enabling him to surpass the host. The gravity of this warning caused Wang Jian's eyes to widen ever so slightly. He had long anticipated that his defiance of the prescribed destinies and his clash against the protagonists would eventually mark him as the primary adversary in the eyes of the world's essence. Now, the world's essence had responded with a countermeasure, unleashing a new protagonist and empowering Yi Chen with unprecedented luck to overcome him. Although Wang Jian couldn't deny feeling a tinge of apprehension, he understood the futility of excessive worry. He knew that dwelling on the extent of the world's essence's intervention or overthinking the challenges ahead would yield no fruitful outcome. Instead, he resolved to confront the obstacles as they arose, tackling each problem head-on. For the time being, Wang Jian would focus on fortifying his faction and embarking on the quest to uncover the identity of this new protagonist. After attaining the Emperor realm, Wang Jian exercised caution and refrained from immediately revealing his newfound cultivation throughout the entire empire. He understood the ensuing chaos that would ensue if all the Emperor realm experts were to perceive him as a threat. Their gaze would fixate upon him, seeking to ascertain his strength and unravel his plans. I think you should take a look at. Although Wang Jian possessed unwavering confidence in his ability to overpower them in sheer might, he recognized the potential harm this attention could inflict upon his faction. Instead, he opted to keep his true strength as a last resort, utilizing it sparingly. This strategic approach allowed him to focus on the development and consolidation of his faction, ensuring its stability and resilience. In pursuit of this goal, his first order of business was to convene a meeting with Su Xian and Fan Shuang, discussing ways to counter the onslaught of assassins and mercenaries targeting their faction. These shadowy assailants had been employed by the factions aligned with Crown Prince Wang Hao, Second Princess Wang Ying, and Third Prince Wang Chen. Wang Jian resolved that the time had come to handpick their targets and eradicate them without mercy. Though his faction may not have been vast in numbers, Wang Jian's mother, Bai Liqin, possessed significant influence. Through her diligent efforts, she had managed to unearth the bases of 3 organizations and the mercenary groups implicated in the attacks against Wang Jian's faction. Determined to make an example out of these 3 targets, Wang Jian assembled a formidable team of warriors hailing from diverse clans, including the Crimson Mammoth Tribe, the Night Dagger Clan, and the Sacred Crane Sect. Leading this formidable force, he wasted no time in launching a lightning assault on the 3 bases, obliterating them with ruthless efficiency. It became a veritable bloodbath, leaving only a handful of survivors. The deliberate act of sparing these witnesses ensured that news of the merciless slaughter orchestrated by Wang Jian's faction would reverberate throughout the empire. Find new stories on nov/elbin.com. Within a week of his return, this display of ruthless retribution sent shockwaves through the ranks of Wang Jian's enemies, who had recklessly targeted his faction during his absence. Even Crown Prince Wang Hao, Second Princess Wang Ying, and Third Prince Wang Chen were taken aback by Wang Jian's unyielding actions. Though they had anticipated a fierce response from him, the extent of his vengeance surpassed their expectations. It became abundantly clear that Wang Jian was willing to defy even the wrath of the emperor himself to exact his revenge, openly slaughtering his adversaries without fear of consequences. Wang Jian possessed a keen understanding of the emperor's response, fully confident that he would face no repercussions for his audacious acts. He recognized that the blame lay squarely upon the opposing factions, not himself. With absolute conviction, he justified his actions as a rightful vengeance against these foolish adversaries who had dared to inflict harm upon his faction during his absence. During that eventful week, a wave of transformative changes swept through the sects. Internal rearrangements unfolded, propelling numerous disciples and even esteemed elders from secondary and local branches of the sects in the kingdom to ascend to the prestigious main branches within the empire. This influx of fresh talent breathed new life into the sects, infusing them with a vigor and strength that had been momentarily depleted in the wake of the butterfly spirit race's encroachment upon their sacred dominion. While the kingdom's sects bore the brunt of this shift, the sects within the empire experienced a remarkable resurgence. The halls of the sects buzzed with anticipation as new faces emerged, their talents shining brightly like stars in the night sky. These promising disciples, along with the elevated elders, brought with them a wealth of expertise, fortifying the sect's foundations within the empire. Among the elders who ascended to the esteemed main branch, one individual stood out, Mei Yan. Unbeknownst to the Celestial Dragon sect, which was affiliated with the Crown Prince Wang Hao, Mei Yan shared a complicated and ambiguous connection with Wang Jian. If they had been aware of this association, they would never have granted her such a prominent position. Instead, they were captivated by Mei Yan's exceptional martial prowess and her impeccable record of managing her branch. Despite her promotion, a chilling sense of fear gripped Mei Yan's heart. Her mind conjured images of Wang Jian's sinister visage and that twisted, wicked smile. She knew all too well that upon her return to the empire, Wang Jian would not simply leave her be. He would use her body to satiate his wicked and carnal desires, regardless of her consent. Mei Yan found herself caught in a predicament, unable to confront Wang Jian or afford to offend him. Her vulnerability stemmed from the fact that Wang Jian held leverage over her, a leverage embodied in the form of her disciple, Xiao Ling, who currently served as Wang Jian's maid. After much deliberation and a heavy sigh, Mei Yan made her decision. Her voice, though laced with willpower, quivered ever so slightly with a tinge of desperation. "Remaining here will only perpetuate our suffering," she whispered to herself, her words a solemn oath. "I must seize this chance and journey to the empire, where I shall dedicate myself to breaking through the formidable barriers that separate me from the revered emperor realm. It is only through transcending these limits that I can safeguard myself and rescue Xiao Ling from this harrowing fate." However, Mei Yan remained blissfully unaware of Wang Jian's recent ascension to the emperor realm. Her hopes rested on the misguided belief that attaining such extraordinary power would free her from his clutches. Little did she know that even the lofty heights of the emperor realm would not grant her the liberation she sought from Wang Jian's oppressive grip. Wang Jian made his way into the grand chamber, where the emperor awaited his presence. The room was adorned with opulent tapestries and glistening chandeliers, reflecting the prestige and power that resonated within its walls. "Jian, we are truly delighted to hear of your triumphant exploits," spoke Emperor Wang with a calm yet joyous tone. "You have not only vanquished the vile demons that dared trespass into our territory, but you have also garnered the favor and acceptance of the esteemed queen of the butterfly spirit race. And to receive her personal mark. Such an honor! Those who bear such a mark etch their names into the annals of history." Wang Jian met his father's gaze with a serene smile. "It was my duty as the seventh prince of the empire to rid our lands of those malevolent demons. However, I do regret that I was unable to deliver justice upon that devilish princess and the treacherous Yi Chen." The emperor's response was measured, his voice carrying a hint of understanding. "There is no need for remorse, son. You have done your utmost, and that is enough for us." With a nod, Wang Jian paused for a brief moment before pressing on. "Father, I have come to request the release of my mother from the confines of the Azure Rock's silent dungeon." A furrow formed on the emperor's brow, yet he maintained his composure. "While it is true that concubine Li Qing's transgressions were grave, using her status as my concubine to mobilize experts in defense of your faction, we could have pardoned her. However, your actions against the Black Hand, the Shadow Fang Brotherhood, and the Steel Viper mercenaries are not to be taken lightly. The scale of the slaughter you left in your wake, sparing only a handful of survivors, has incited the council, our other concubines, and even our empress to seek justice against you. We do not wish to punish you, son, so the weight of your punishment must be borne by your mother, concubine Li Qin. Wang Jian's eyes widened in response, a cold smile creeping upon his lips. You seem unusually unfair, Emperor. You must recognize that while I resided within the sacred dominion, I was instrumental in fostering stronger relations between the empire and the butterfly spirit race, even having a close relationship with the saintess of the church. It was during that time that my siblings took advantage and launched ruthless attacks against my faction. I merely retaliated, exacting vengeance upon those who sought to dismantle all I had built. His voice grew stronger, resonating through the chamber. Furthermore, regarding the experts my mother mobilized, I am prepared to pay any price for their recruitment. Moreover, let us not forget that it was not my mother who committed the crimes alone. My second sister, Wang Ying, should face severe punishment for colluding with a demon-affiliated expert and even transforming into a demon at the crucial juncture of our expedition to the sacred dominion. The emperor's gaze turned frosty, his words cutting through the air like an icy wind. Mind your tone when addressing us, my son. We are the emperor of this realm. And do not assume that we are ignorant of your clandestine activities. We are well aware of your secret dealings with the Crimson Cult. The fact that you have aligned yourself with a banned organization under our very noses infuriates me. However, we have turned a blind eye to it, merely to spare you from severe repercussions. The punishment concubine Li Qin has received pales in comparison, don't you agree? Wang Jian's eyes widened in disbelief, his carefully constructed facade momentarily shattered by the emperor's revelation. He hadn't anticipated that news of his collaboration with the Crimson Cult would reach the emperor's ears so swiftly. Yet, upon reflection, he realized the natural progression of events. If the upper echelons of the Crimson Cult were already aware of his affiliation, it was only a matter of time before whispers reached the emperor's vast network of spies, which extended far and wide throughout the empire. I am grateful for your mercy, Emperor, Wang Jian uttered through clenched teeth, his voice a mere whisper. I shall take my leave then. With a final nod, Wang Jian turned on his heel, concealing the storm of emotions raging within him. News of Wang Jian's audience with the emperor and his failure to secure his mother's release from the accursed dungeon spread like wildfire throughout the vast expanse of the realm, capturing the attention and speculation of the populace. While the conversation between Wang Jian and the emperor remained shrouded in secrecy, the public couldn't help but weave their own narratives, fueled by the absence of Li Qin's liberation. These murmurs only deepened the already existing perception of a complex and strained relationship between the emperor and Wang Jian, hinting at the emperor's dissatisfaction with his own son. Simultaneously, another piece of news swept through the empire, concerning the second princess, Wang Ying visit en Velben, cm for you ovals. Whispers traveled like invisible tendrils, revealing that she had severed all ties with those associated with Yi Chen, be it friends or members affiliated with her faction through Yi Chen's influence. The public marveled at Wang Ying's audacity, for her actions seemingly sacrificed the strength of her faction in favor of upholding her principles. It appeared as though she placed her ideals above personal gain, drawing admiration from onlookers. But the truth behind this carefully orchestrated display diverged greatly from the public's perception. Wang Ying's motives were far from altruistic, they were cunning and calculated maneuvers designed to enhance her faction's prestige and allure. She recognized that attracting more individuals to her cause required her to appear as the lone torchbearer of morality and righteousness within the royal family. To achieve this, decisive actions were necessary, I think you should take a look at. However, removing the entire group affiliated with her faction through Yi Chen's connections would have inflicted irreparable damage to her faction's strength and influence. Hence, Wang Ying implemented a strategic approach, directing her subordinates to foster stronger bonds with every member of the group except for the individual associated with Yi Chen. In this calculated move, only those linked to Yi Chen were cast aside, while the rest remained firmly ensconced within Wang Ying's faction. Regrettably, the news circulating in the realm painted a different picture, an illusion suggesting that Wang Ying's resolute decision had drastically weakened her faction. Yet, the truth lay hidden beneath the surface, with her faction's strength remaining largely intact. Only one clan abandoned her ranks, accompanied by a prominent member, Elder Hua. This departure stemmed from Elder Hua's tangential connection to Yi Chen. While she and her disciples were not Yi Chen's confidants, they had received invaluable aid from him during a perilous expedition. Wary of any potential risks, Wang Ying opted to sever all ties with Elder Hua, despite their shared battle against a common enemy on the battlefield. It was a calculated move, guided by the desire to safeguard her faction's interests above all else. While the other members of the royal family, namely Wang Hao, Wang Jian, and Wang Chen, saw through Wang Ying's calculated move, they refrained from wasting their time refuting the news. They understood that their words would likely be dismissed as slanderous due to their rivalry with Wang Ying. Moreover, as the sole female candidate for the throne, she garnered sympathy from many. During this time, each faction diligently expanded their influence. The decimation of the Black Hand had dealt a significant blow to Wang Chen, but he worked tirelessly to assemble a formidable team of warriors. In addition, his subordinates were inching closer to discovering the elusive mysterious Windlaw fruit, an opportunity that would catapult Wang Chen's cultivation to the Qing realm, placing him on equal footing with his siblings vying for the throne. Wang Hao focused on strengthening his faction by managing the sects under his command and assigning them specific tasks to bolster his faction's popularity. He also devised rigorous training exercises to enhance the combat prowess and quality of his subordinate experts. Meanwhile, Wang Jian found himself engrossed in a whirlwind of activity. His current priority centered around assembling a team to mine the precious ebon void essence ore from the sacred dominion of the butterfly spirit race. To accomplish this, Wang Jian handpicked members from the Crimson Mammoth tribe and enlisted the expertise of the Liu family. The physically robust Crimson Mammoth tribe would handle the arduous task of mining, while the Liu family's knowledge was indispensable for harnessing the full potential of these ores. The initial objective was to establish a teleportation formation between Wang Jian's faction and the butterfly spirit race. Next, Wang Jian aimed to create a network of teleportation channels throughout his entire faction, ensuring swift mobility and strategic advantages. Lastly, the focus shifted to research. Wang Jian decided that the research would be conducted exclusively within the Sacred Dominion. A selected group of individuals would dedicate their lives to this endeavor. Their primary mission involved utilizing talismans to establish a spatial connection between the ores. The chosen ore would possess such a limited quantity that it couldn't be employed for teleportation purposes, but it would serve as a conduit for sound transmission across the spatial medium. Essentially, this was akin to a telephone communication system without the reliance on electricity. However, sound transmission was merely the first step in Wang Jian's ambitious plan. He intended to incorporate a recording feature into the communication method. By utilizing this innovative system, Wang Jian aimed to eavesdrop on conversations and gather information from his chosen targets through the communication stones. After dispatching a team to the Sacred Dominion to mine the precious ebon void essence ores, Wang Jian turned his attention to meeting with Lady Xia. As they reconvened in Wang Jian's room, their initial focus shifted towards indulging in a night of intense and passionate lovemaking. Lady Xia eagerly shed her garments, assuming various enticing positions that pleased Wang Jian's desires, as the two of them shared an intimate and exhilarating night together. Following their carnal escapade, Wang Jian redirected his attention to discussing business matters with Lady Xia, their naked bodies pressed against one another. "Master," Lady Xia began, her voice laced with excitement, "I executed a trial run to showcase the superior quality of our products compared to others in the market. The tactic proved to be immensely successful. However, our rivals or even enemies sabotaged our shop and made off with all our merchandise. Fortunately, the location of our warehouse remains concealed, and the majority of our products remain safe. But how do we proceed with selling them? Wang Jian, his hand alternating between Lady Xia's ample bosom and her exposed waist, spoke in response. Your idea to demonstrate the product's potential through a trial run was brilliant. However, it was a misstep to offer the trial to all women. The purpose of this venture is to specifically target women of high status within society. To achieve that, you should have sent packages to the wives of various clan leaders, influential women in organizations or associations, and those possessing authority in the empire. This approach would have quickly reached our desired audience. As Wang Jian's words sank in, Lady Xiao's eyes widened, and a hint of disappointment flickered within them. Sensing her disillusionment, Wang Jian tightened his grip around her voluptuous body and whispered, a cunning gleam in his eyes, "There's no need to feel disheartened. What you did was a necessary step to garner attention for our beauty products. The strategy one just mentioned will now have the greatest impact if you implement it. Just ensure that you emphasize how, due to recent public disturbances, the Elysian Blossoms organization will no longer distribute products to the general populace. Instead, we will selectively choose recipients for our products, including the free trials." Wang Jian's tactic worked brilliantly. As news of the organization's decision spread, the general populace erupted in outrage. However, their anger was largely directed towards the individuals who had vandalized and tormented the Elysian Blossoms organization's store in the capital. While these rumors circulated, Lady Xia diligently compiled a list of high-ranking women and those with esteemed positions, meticulously preparing splendid packages for each of them. Alongside the packages, she included an invitation to an exclusive banquet. The letter tantalizingly hinted at the unveiling of a secret elixir during the event, promising to bestow eternal youth upon all women until the end of their days. Although the elixir couldn't extend their lives or life force, the prospect of maintaining peak beauty until death proved immensely alluring. Almost every woman who received the letter eagerly accepted the banquet invitation. Accompanying the invitation were a few specific instructions. The first condition stipulated that each woman could bring only 2 guards, irrespective of their strength. The number of guards couldn't exceed 2. The second condition clarified that these guards would accompany the women only until the entrance of the banquet hall, where they would then be guided to a separate hall. Inside the banquet hall itself, the Elysian Blossoms organization would assume full responsibility for everyone's safety, rendering the presence of additional guards unnecessary. Initially, some might have regarded this condition with contempt, given the organization's previous inability to protect its workers and store from looting. However, no one dared underestimate the importance of this condition since Wang Jian's return, as he had already exacted a heavy price from those who dared to target his organization. 2 mercenary groups and a large assassin organization had been mercilessly eradicated, showcasing the true power behind Wang Jian's faction. Lastly, the third condition warned that anyone causing trouble during the banquet would face ruthless consequences at the hands of the Elysian Blossoms organization. Only those who agreed to all 3 conditions would be allowed to attend the banquet, set to take place in Wang Jian's sprawling estate, located a considerable distance from Arya City. The much-anticipated banquet was scheduled to take place in the near future, just as the weekend approached. With the beginning of the week at hand, their carefully selected targets would soon begin their preparations, gradually setting their plans in motion. By the 3rd or 4th day, a steady stream of influential figures would start their journey, converging towards the designated location with the aim of reaching it by week's end. While the preparations for the upcoming banquet were in full swing, Wang Jian, being the astute strategist that he was, also diverted his attention to other matters of importance. One such matter involved poaching groups and organizations that were allied with his rivals, a move that would significantly weaken their support base. Fully aware of his own exceptional talent, which had surpassed even that of the Crown Prince and the Second Princess, Wang Jian knew it wouldn't be difficult to convince factions under their influence to join his cause. His first target was none other than the Jin clan, a formidable force aligned with the second princess's faction. It was the presence of Jin Meixiang, the clan's heir, that made this alliance particularly enticing. I think you should take a look at. Instead of opting for a formal meeting, Wang Jian devised a more strategic approach. He extended a personal invitation to Jin Meixiang, suggesting they meet at a graceful and aesthetic restaurant nestled within the bustling city of Jinhua. Jin Meixiang was taken aback by the unexpected invitation, her heart fluttering with a mixture of surprise and excitement. The favorable sentiments she held towards Wang Jian only added to her anticipation, making her acceptance of the invitation a swift and eager response. As the day of their meeting approached, Jin Meixiang's mind buzzed with curiosity and a hint of nervousness. A mixture of anticipation and uncertainty danced within her as she prepared herself for the encounter that could potentially alter the course of her clan's future. Stepping into the restaurant, Jin Meixiang found herself immersed in an enchanting atmosphere. The place was adorned with exquisite decorations, creating a captivating ambience that heightened her senses. Her heart skipped a beat as she spotted Wang Jian waiting for her at a table specially set for couples. A rush of happiness surged within her, and her cheeks flushed with a rosy hue. Overwhelmed by the significance of Wang Jian, the seventh prince of the empire, waiting for her, Jin Meixiang couldn't help but feel a surge of excitement. It was an undeniable testament to the importance he placed on her presence. With a shy smile, she approached the table and gracefully took a seat in front of Wang Jian, her eyes sparkling with delight. In a hushed voice, she apologized, "I apologize for keeping you waiting, Your Highness." Wang Jian dismissed her apology with a casual wave of his hand. "Nonsense. This is our first date, and I wanted it to be special," he said with a warm smile, his eyes locked onto hers. As he spoke, his hand gently intertwined with Jin Meixiang's, using the blissful touch technique to evoke a deep sense of joy within her. While Jin Meixiang's heart would have fluttered even without the subtle influence, she couldn't deny the overwhelming happiness that coursed through her veins. Wang Jian's thoughtfulness and attention to detail touched her deeply. Her cheeks flushed a deeper shade of pink as she whispered her gratitude. Lost in the enchanting moment, Wang Jian shifted the conversation to a more light-hearted tone. "So, what would you like to eat?" "Consider it my treat," he offered, his eyes sparkling mischievously. Jin Meixiang, no longer inclined to stand on ceremony, quickly perused the menu and made her selection, choosing a couple of delectable dishes accompanied by a tantalizing cocktail. Wang Jian followed suit, ordering a strong cocktail for himself and a variety of dishes to savor. As they waited for their meals to arrive, conversation flowed effortlessly between the two. Wang Jian, his gaze filled with genuine admiration, couldn't help but compliment Jin Meixiang's radiant beauty. "Your F4 stories on /o/v/lbn.cm. You look absolutely stunning today, perfectly complementing your graceful aura," he praised, a smile playing on his lips. Jin Meixiang's cheeks reddened, her heart racing at his words. She nodded shyly, barely able to utter her response. "You are incredibly handsome as well, Your Highness. I find it hard to take my eyes off you." Wang Jian chuckled playfully, his eyes gleaming with amusement. "Your praise makes all the effort I put into getting ready worthwhile." Unable to contain her curiosity any longer, Jin Meixiang mustered the courage to ask the question that had been lingering in her mind. "Your Highness, may I ask why you invited me on this date?" "I understand that you must be incredibly busy, especially with your faction expanding at such a rapid pace," she inquired, her voice laced with a mixture of sincerity and a desire to uncover the true purpose behind their meeting. She suspected there was more to this date than their mutual romantic feelings, and she sensed it had something to do with her clan's fealty. With a serious expression, Wang Jian leaned in closer, his eyes locked onto Jin Meixiang's. "You're right, my days have been filled with countless responsibilities. Yet, this meeting with you holds great significance. I came here with a dual purpose in mind. One is purely personal, as I wanted to share this special moment with you. The other, I must admit, leans more towards the professional side. It involves a matter concerning your esteemed Jin clan. Jin Meixiang couldn't help but feel a sense of relief wash over her. Wang Jian's honest and straightforward approach touched her deeply, as she had grown weary of deceitful politics and false pretenses. Nodding appreciatively, she encouraged him to continue. "Please, tell me more, Your Highness. I'm eager to hear what you have to say about my clan." With a casual smile, Wang Jian responded, "Let's talk about that later. First, I want to enjoy this date with you." As if on cue, the food arrived at the table. As the hours passed, Wang Jian and Jin Meixiang found themselves engrossed in each other's company. They laughed, shared childhood stories, and delved into the depths of their souls. In the midst of their conversation, Jin Meixiang unknowingly began revealing the inner workings of her clan. Her words flowed freely, not realizing the significance of the information she was imparting. She spoke of the second princess, Wang Ying, introducing a certain Yi Chen during a recent clan meeting, a man tasked with undermining Wang Jian's faction. With this revelation, the path ahead became clear for Wang Jian. Seizing the opportunity, he skillfully steered the conversation towards Jin Meixiang's clan's allegiance to his second sister's faction. Follow the latest novels n/velban.com. At the mere mention of Wang Ying's faction, Jin Meixiang's dissatisfaction with the second princess overflowed, pouring out in a passionate tirade. Unaware of Wang Jian pulling the strings, she unleashed her frustrations, giving voice to her deepest resentments towards Wang Ying. Wang Jian deftly capitalized on Jin Meixiang's perception, skillfully molding her understanding of his sister's true nature. With subtle words and well-timed anecdotes, he painted a picture of Wang Ying as a self-serving individual, acting only in her own interests, an unfortunate truth that Jin Meixiang had no reason to doubt. The more Wang Jian spoke, the more Jin Meixiang's eyes opened to the realities she had been blind to. The veil of loyalty towards her clan's affiliation with Wang Ying's faction began to crumble, revealing the selfish motivations and narrow-mindedness that lay beneath. As a tumult of emotions washed over Jin Meixiang, anger, disappointment, and newfound clarity, she turned to Wang Jian, her voice trembling with determination. "Your Highness, I can no longer abide by my clan's foolish loyalty to the second princess's faction. This alliance was meant to secure our hold over Jinhua City, but her collusion with the Hua clan, and the benefits she promised them, now jeopardizes everything we've worked for." Wang Jian's eyes sparkled with triumph as he clasped Jin Meixiang's hand gently. "Jin Meixiang, your wisdom and insight surpass that of your peers. I have a solution for you and your clan, a proposition that goes beyond a mere alliance. I wish to forge a bond of family between our houses." Curiosity brimming in her eyes, Jin Meixiang asked, "How do you propose we do that?" With a confident smile and a deep breath, Wang Jian replied, "I, Wang Jian, the seventh prince of the empire, request your hand in marriage, Meixiang." His words hung in the air, and Jin Meixiang's eyes widened in delightful surprise. The blissful touch technique heightened her already joyful emotions, filling her heart to the brim. Overwhelmed with happiness, she blurted out, "Yes. I accept your proposal." Though the notion of seeking her family's approval for such a momentous marriage alliance should have crossed her mind, the sheer excitement and elation of the moment eclipsed any rational thoughts. In that instant, all that mattered was embracing this joyous union. "I'm overjoyed to hear your response, my dear. This is the true purpose of our date, a personal yet professional matter," Wang Jian explained calmly, his words causing Jin Meixiang's delight to soar even higher. Soon, however, a sense of apprehension settled upon her. "Your Highness, how do we proceed from here? I'm unsure if my father will agree to this marriage. He places great importance on matters of loyalty," Jin Meixiang replied meekly. Wang Jian's smile remained reassuring as he gently caressed her cheek. "Don't worry about that. Your happiness is all that matters to me. Do you truly want to marry me? Without a moment's hesitation, Jean Meixiang responded with conviction, yes, I do. Wang Jian's voice brimmed with confidence as he assured her, then everything will fall into place. Your father's decision is not the sole determining factor. If the council of your clan collectively suggests breaking fealty to the second princess, your father will have no choice but to accept their decision. When that time comes, I will personally visit your clan with this marriage proposal. I am certain your father and everyone else will be persuaded. Jean Meixiang inquired, but how will breaking fealty to the second princess benefit my clan? With a calm yet resolute tone, Wang Jian explained, I will take ruthless action against all the groups aligned with my second sister's faction. I will deal with them swiftly and decisively, leaving your clan no choice but to reconsider their alliance with her. Rest assured, your clan will remain unharmed. A flicker of hesitation crossed Jean Meixiang's eyes as she expressed her concerns. I don't want innocent people to suffer because of us. Wang Jian's voice softened as he spoke, it's not solely about us or your clan. This plan was in motion even before our meeting. I understand I am not a virtuous man, but my care is limited to a select few. The rest hold no significance to me. And, my dear, you are one of the dearest to me. So, please take care of yourself. I think you should take a look at. Standing up, Wang Jian approached Jean Meixiang with a radiant smile. He brought his face closer to hers, his voice barely a whisper, if, after this, you decide you no longer wish to be with me, I will abandon this idea. In the next moment, Wang Jian and Jean Meixiang engaged in a passionate kiss, amplified by the effects of the blissful touch technique. Their excitement and happiness reached its zenith, and they lost themselves in the intoxicating embrace. Even after the kiss ended, Jean Meixiang wasted no time initiating a second, then a third, and a fourth. The two lovers continued their passionate exchange, their lips parting only after 20 kisses, allowing them to catch their breath. By then, Jean Meixiang wore an enamored expression, her arms tightly wrapped around Wang Jian's muscular frame as she whispered, I want to marry you as soon as possible, Your Highness. Please do what you must, but promise me you won't harm innocent people unnecessarily. Wang Jian lovingly stroked her head, assuring her, I will always keep your wishes in mind, my dear. After this date with Jean Meixiang, Wang Jian departed from Jinhua City and he made his way to his grand estate, where the highly anticipated meeting with influential women would soon take place. The chosen venue for the banquet boasted 3 magnificent halls spread across different floors, each meticulously adorned with exquisite decorations. These halls served as the divisions for the invited women. They were categorized into 3 levels, each corresponding to their appearance and background, symbolizing the levels of splendor. The first level housed women who were deemed to possess unremarkable looks and hailed from second-rate backgrounds. This tier consisted of around 150 individuals. The second level comprised women with modest beauty or average looks but possessed first-rate influential backgrounds. Some beautiful women from second-rate backgrounds were also included in this category. Approximately 80 women were assigned to this level. Finally, the third level housed a select few women who possessed exceptional beauty, rivaling even Wang Jian's own companions. These women held extraordinary status and backgrounds, making up a prestigious group of only 12 individuals. On the ground floor, the area was overseen by rugged men from the Crimson Mammoth tribe, Night Dagger clan, and several other clans. Even low-level disciples from the Sacred Crane sect were present, totaling around 100 individuals. Their responsibility was to supervise the women on the first level, who numbered 150. Wang Jian rendezvoused with his trusted friends and loyal subordinates who had also arrived at the mansion. He assigned them to the first floor, instructing them to handle the women within their purview. These friends and subordinates, hailing from various clans under Wang Jian's command, amounted to 41 individuals. Together, they would oversee the 80 women of the second level. Lastly, in the banquet hall on the second floor, the 12 most enchanting and captivating beauties, each possessing exceptional backgrounds and status, would be elegantly arranged. Wang Jian himself would personally attend to these extraordinary women, ensuring their comfort and enjoyment throughout the evening. As the highly anticipated day drew nearer, the invited women arrived at the grand estate and were escorted to their respective rooms on the same floor as their designated banquet halls. Little did they know that Wang Jian had orchestrated a clever ploy during their stay. Each woman's room discreetly harbored a small vent, unbeknownst to them. It was through these vents that a mysterious and alluring scent permeated their chambers. This intriguing fragrance was none other than Wang Jian's own creation, a result of his mastery over the enchanting pheromones technique. The purpose behind this clandestine act was to unleash an overwhelming surge of sexual desire within the hearts of these women. Wang Jian sought to amplify their carnal yearnings to unprecedented levels, leaving them yearning for intimate encounters. However, he exercised caution, ensuring the pheromones' effects gradually seeped into their consciousness, making it appear natural and unobtrusive. Finally, the long-awaited day of the banquet arrived. Yet, unbeknownst to the women, a peculiar phenomenon had taken hold of each and every one of them. They found themselves consumed by an insatiable desire, an intense lust that coursed through their very being at the mere thought of a man. Despite the coolness of the banquet halls, the women perspired profusely, their bodies drenched in sweat. This occurrence was primarily attributed to the vents strategically placed within the halls, mirroring the ones within their rooms. Through these vents, Wang Jian cunningly disseminated the enchanting pheromones, their presence intensifying the women's libido to unprecedented heights. Wang Jian's subordinates, friends, and close comrades made their way into their assigned banquet halls, eager to partake in the night's festivities. Meanwhile, Wang Jian himself held back, patiently waiting for the moment to enter the banquet hall on the second floor, where the women eagerly anticipated his arrival. As the men entered the halls, their presence ignited a primal desire within the women, whose insatiable cravings for physical pleasure had reached a fever pitch. Eyes filled with hunger locked onto the men, their gazes devouring them whole, yearning for the fulfillment only they could provide. Unlike the women of heroine status, who were only influenced by a fraction of the enchanting pheromones' effects, these women had no such immunity. The full force of Wang Jian's technique had taken hold of them, leaving them entranced and at its mercy. Within the halls, a peculiar amity formed among the women as they observed their counterparts succumbing to the same primal urges. Some had already begun caressing their own bosoms or other sensitive areas, their passionate moans filling the air. An unspoken understanding emerged that something extraordinary was transpiring, though their capabilities to flee or resist had been utterly drained. It was at this moment that their desperate gazes fell upon the men entering their midst. Overwhelmed by their uncontrollable desires, the women pounced on the men with an unbridled fervor. The men, well prepared for this encounter, met their advances with equal passion. Garments were ravaged and discarded, transforming the grand banquet halls into scenes of unadulterated ecstasy. Reason and logic ceased to exist as both parties surrendered to their primal instincts, seeking only the gratification of their carnal desires. The halls reverberated with the symphony of pleasure, screams of ecstasy, impassioned moans, the rhythmic slapping of flesh, and the tantalizing sounds of pleasure-filled slurps. In this depraved orgy, the air became electrified with an intoxicating mixture of lust and longing. A wicked smile played upon Wang Jian's lips as he sensed the unfolding scene. His plan was progressing precisely as intended. By orchestrating this seductive tactic, he would not only satiate the desires of his subordinates and comrades but also solidify his control over their unwavering loyalty. New N0vel chapters are published on N0v/e/lb/in/co/m. Wang Jian understood that to wield absolute dominion over his entire faction, he needed to mold them into beings devoid of moral constraints, individuals whose sense of right and wrong had been irrevocably twisted. This night of unbridled indulgence would forever etch itself into the consciousness of these women, forging an insatiable craving for fleshly pleasures. The effects of Wang Jian's enchanting pheromones would ensure that they relentlessly sought the euphoria they experienced tonight, becoming forever bound to his desires. For the men present, this night of unadulterated ecstasy would be a tantalizing delight, a rare opportunity to relinquish the shackles that constrained their carnal desires. In doing so, they would awaken an insatiable hunger within themselves, an insatiable hunger that could only be sated by adhering to Wang Jian's every command, no matter how brutal or perilous it may seem. Their very desire would be molded by this intoxicating experience, yearning for more nights of unbridled pleasure. With a sense of satisfaction, Wang Jian finally felt it was time to fulfill his own desires. The anticipation had been building, and now he stood before the 12 exquisite beauties who awaited him in the opulent banquet hall on the second floor. As he entered the room, his eyes danced with amusement, taking in the sight before him. The effects of the enchanting pheromones were evident in these alluring women, their flushed faces and soft moans betraying their intense arousal. Their delicate hands wandered sensually across their own bodies, creating an aura of eroticism that hung in the air. The gazes of these exquisite beauties locked onto Wang Jian, burning with unadulterated lust. Their desire for him was palpable, a hunger that consumed their every thought. Yet, to their surprise, they found themselves unable to approach him, their bodies frozen in place. Wang Jian's voice, dripping with depravity, cut through the charged atmosphere. "Do not think you can satiate your carnal desires with me so easily," he spoke, his voice laced with wicked delight. "You must use your skills and beg me for it." A mischievous grin spread across Wang Jian's face as he continued, his words a seductive command. "First, tear apart those confining garments that hide your exquisite forms. Show me the untamed beauty that lies beneath. I think you should take a look at." In an instant, as if under a spell, the 12 women complied with his demand. Their hands moved with urgency, ripping away the fabric that veiled their luscious bodies. The room was filled with the sound of tearing cloth, revealing their alluring curves and flawless skin. Taking his seat on a luxurious chair, Wang Jian's gaze traveled hungrily over each naked form before him. A wicked smile played on his lips as he spoke, his voice laced with a mixture of dominance and desire. "Why don't you ladies show me your skills in the art of dance? But remember, it must be a spectacle that pleases my eyes. Only the woman who dances with the utmost eroticism will earn the privilege of feeling my throbbing cock inside her." Not all of the women immediately complied with his command. However, one brave soul stepped forward and began to sway her hips, causing her supple bosom to bounce and jiggle in an alluring display. Wang Jian's tongue darted out to moisten his lips in a depraved manner as he relished in the sight before him, his smirk growing even more wicked. Soon, the other women followed suit, their bodies moving to the rhythm of their hidden desires. Each of these women held prestigious status, and never before had they experienced such humiliation or vulnerability. Even as they danced, their eyes burned with a mixture of defiance and anger. One of them summoned the courage to speak out amidst the tantalizing movements. "You've done something to us. You will pay for this," she declared, her voice quivering with a mix of anger and desperation. Wang Jian rolled his eyes dismissively, his voice dripping with disdain as he responded to their protests. "Yes, indeed, I have done something. But here's the truth, my dear. Deep down, you all desire it. You want me. You know that I only seek to use your bodies to satisfy my insatiable desires, and yet, you want me. And this craving won't be limited to just today. It will haunt you every single day for the rest of your lives. From now on, even as you despise me, your satisfaction will be solely derived from the feel of my cock inside your dripping pussy. You will obediently follow my every command in pursuit of that gratification." One of the women defiantly shouted back, her voice laced with determination, "No. That will never happen. I love my husband." Amusement danced in Wang Jian's eyes as he responded, his voice dripping with a twisted charm. "Of course, my dear. Let's see if you maintain that same conviction by the time this banquet reaches its conclusion. Among the 12 captivating women in Wang Jian's presence, each belonged to prestigious organizations or clans renowned throughout the realm. The Celestial Talismans Guild, the Iron Mercenaries, the Brotherhood of Steel Fist, the Mystic Creature Handlers Union, the Li Clan, the O Clan, and more. Most of these women were either esteemed wives of influential men within their respective organizations or held high-ranking positions themselves. In fact, 2 of them hailed from the Celestial Talismans Guild and the Mystic Creature Handlers Union as the esteemed vice-masters of their associations. Others were the cherished wives of powerful and high-status men, their marriages built on love and respect. These husbands held the utmost regard for their wives' opinions, recognizing the value of their voices in an era when women's thoughts often went unheeded. If any of these women were to express their concerns or objections, their husbands would listen and honor their words. It was a testament to the righteousness and progressive mindset of these men, who understood the significance of empowering their wives in a world that still clung to outdated beliefs. Under Wang Jian's depraved and manipulative influence, the women found themselves trapped in a web of temptation, their desires for pleasure overpowering their loyalty to their husbands. They were forced to succumb to the act of debauchery, betraying their sacred vows in a night of adulterous encounters with Wang Jian. Throughout the evening and well into the night, Wang Jian reveled in the power he held over these women, indulging in their bodies with insatiable desire. The 3 banquet halls buzzed with frenzied activity as the men took full advantage of the women's intense craving for sexual satisfaction, a consequence of Wang Jian's potent enchanting pheromones technique. Moans and cries echoed through the halls as the air became thick with the scent of lust and the sound of flesh meeting flesh. The women, lost in a haze of desire, surrendered to the pleasure that consumed them, their bodies intertwining with their newfound partners in a symphony of ecstasy. Throughout the night, inhibitions crumbled, boundaries blurred, and the primal desires within each person were unleashed. The men, driven by their own carnal appetites, ravished the women with unbridled passion, exploring every curve and indulging in their most forbidden fantasies. In this realm of unadulterated pleasure, time became irrelevant as the night pressed on, fueled by the intoxicating blend of desire and surrender. The men and women alike were caught in a whirlwind of hedonistic indulgence, their moans of pleasure punctuating the darkness. It was a night that would forever alter the lives of these women and their husbands, a secret shared between them and Wang Jian, a dark pact forged in the depths of desire. As the depraved night in Wang Jian's estate reached its climax, the following day dawned with a distinct air of frenzied desire lingering in the atmosphere. The women, now bearing a crazed and intoxicated expression, clung to the men who had shared that passionate night with them. It was a scene of utter decadence and abandonment. In the presence of a man who had indulged in multiple encounters, the women converged upon him, their hands roaming his body, engaging in intimate moments like shared kisses and tender caresses. It was a display of unabashed intimacy, an unspoken understanding of the night they had shared and the desires that still burned within them. Wang Jian, standing at the center of this perverse tableau, found himself enveloped by the 12 women from the banquet hall. Their touch was insistent and eager, their hands seeking out every inch of his being. Some caressed his broad back and sculpted chest, while others explored the contours of his lower body, their hands tracing a path from his throbbing manhood to his muscular thighs. In the midst of this erotic spectacle, a woman knelt before Wang Jian, her lips engulfing him in a passionate embrace. With unbridled passion, she pleasured him with her mouth, swallowing every drop of his essence as he released his seed into her eager mouth. It was the same woman who had once shouted waves of dissatisfaction against Wang Jian, her transformation into a willing and depraved servant now complete. With a curious glint in his eyes, Wang Jian posed a question to the women surrounding him, his voice tinged with a mix of intrigue and satisfaction. "Will you now heed my every command?" In unison, their voices filled with lust and obedience, they responded, their gazes filled with a mix of ecstasy and submission. "From this moment forth, I shall be your devoted servant, master." Their collective declaration sealed their fate, binding them to Wang Jian's dark desires. With their obedience secured through their insatiable cravings, these women had become mere instruments of his twisted will. The once defiant woman now reveled in her newfound role, her face contorted with pleasure and devotion, a testament to the power Wang Jian wielded over their desires. With the conclusion of the debauched banquet, each of the women was granted permission to depart. However, their return to their respective lives would never be the same. Having been fully corrupted and tantalized by the passionate night they had experienced, a relentless hunger now gnawed at their souls. To satiate this insatiable craving, they would be compelled to heed Wang Jian's every command. Only through obedience could they hope to relive that intoxicating and satisfying night of pure bliss. Wang Jian lamented the fact that none of these women belonged to the Lotus Blossom sect, but he had every intention of actively targeting them. He had refrained from employing his depraved tactics on them previously due to uncertainty regarding their susceptibility to his methods. However, now that he had witnessed the success of his enchanting pheromones technique on regular women, he was emboldened to subjugate the Lotus Blossom sect to his own faction. By forcing the decision-making heads of the sect, such as the sect mistress, the Grand Elder, and the top King Realm expert, the Second Elder, into submission, Wang Jian aimed to weaken Wang Ying's faction and bolster his own. Fortunately, these three formidable women were not only powerful but also heavenly beauties, making them prime targets for Wang Jian's nefarious plans. However, such an endeavor required careful preparation and time. While he bided his time, the organizations and associations whose women had fallen victim to the depraved pleasures of the banquet in his mansion began severing their ties with other royal factions. Instead, they sought to align themselves with Wang Jian's faction, drawn by the allure of his rising power. News of this meteoric rise spread like wildfire, and many speculated that it had something to do with the extravagant banquet that had hosted women from esteemed backgrounds. Yet, the true extent of the wickedness that had transpired during that fateful night remained hidden from the prying eyes of the public. After diligently tending to his injuries, the Crown Prince Wang Hao finally emerged from the clutches of his wounds thanks to the administration of precious herbs and potent medicines. With his body now healed, he wasted no time in rallying his fractured royal faction. Wang Jian's audacious movements and calculated actions had dealt a severe blow to Wang Hao's faction, and he refused to accept defeat lying down. Thus, Wang Hao's forces set their sights on Wang Jian's faction, initiating a series of small-scale conflicts between clans and associations. The reverberations of these clashes rippled throughout the empire, with the general populace bearing witness to the repercussions. Prices of essential raw materials soared steadily, leaving the masses grappling with the burden of inflated transportation costs. Frustration and fury engulfed the hearts of the people. Wang Jian, fully aware that prolonged attacks from Wang Hao's faction would only serve to weaken both sides, devised a wicked scheme. He cunningly involved the faction led by the second princess, Wang Ying, by orchestrating staged assaults on two groups, cleverly implicating Wang Hao as the instigator. I think you should take a look at. This strategic move triggered a cascade of retaliatory strikes from Wang Ying's faction against Wang Hao's forces. The conflict between these three royal members, the first prince, Wang Hao, the second princess, Wang Ying, and the seventh prince, Wang Jian, now engulfed the entire empire, plunging it into a state of turmoil and upheaval. At long last, Wang Hao reached his breaking point and decided to enlist the aid of the two most formidable sects aligned with him, the mighty Heavenly Blade sect and the esteemed Celestial Dragon sect. Their combined strength would surely tip the scales in his favor. Meanwhile, Wang Ying turned to the Lotus Blossom sect, a formidable great sect, to aid her in the ongoing conflict against her siblings. As for Wang Jian, he sought support from the Sacred Crane sect. However, it soon became apparent that this sect lacked the power to withstand the might of the opposing great sects. It was in this moment of realization that Wang Jian resolved to visit the sacred cathedral of the Church of Divine Light. Since parting ways with Wang Jian, Hong Meilin had found refuge in various branches of the Church of Divine Light, before ultimately returning to the Grand Cathedral. Little did she know that her presence would catch the attention of the Pope himself, who wasted no time summoning her. The Pope demanded an explanation regarding her scandalous romantic involvement with Wang Jian, the empire's seventh prince. Unable to deceive her way out of the situation, Hong Meilin reluctantly confessed the truth. The Pope, consumed by fury upon learning that the saintess of the Church of Divine Light was entangled in such a scandalous affair with the seventh prince, was further enraged by the revelation that this illicit relationship had become public knowledge. In a swift and decisive move, the Pope commanded the bishops to subject Hong Meilin to a baptism of holy light, a cleansing ritual meant to purify her of her perceived impurities. This divine light possessed a unique power that would inflict harm upon the recipient as long as their mind remained tainted by thoughts associated with the seven sins of humanity. Hong Meilin's mind had succumbed to the grip of lust and a hint of greed, her love and longing for Wang Jian aligning with these forbidden sins. The Pope ordered her to endure 2 months of torture within the confines of the Holy Baptism Chamber. Up TED chapters nnvelben.com. If she persisted in her defiant mindset, she would ultimately be sacrificed to the radiant God, making way for the selection of a new saintess. Such ruthless measures were the Church's way of dealing with transgressions. 3 arduous weeks had passed since Hong Meilin's imprisonment within the Holy Baptism Chamber, and it was on this fateful day that Wang Jian ventured into the sacred halls of the Church. Undeterred by the futile attempts of bishops, deacons, and priests to impede his progress, Wang Jian stormed into the Pope's chamber with unwavering determination. Even in his previous state as a King realm expert, Wang Jian's sheer power overshadowed any opposition, let alone now when he had ascended to the esteemed Emperor realm. However, he intentionally emanated only the aura of a King realm, concealing his true might as an Emperor realm expert. The Pope was taken aback by the oppressive King realm aura exuding from Wang Jian's being. It felt as though he was not facing a mere King realm expert, but a formidable Emperor realm presence akin to the esteemed Crown Prince Wang Hao himself. "Why have you intruded upon my chambers?" the Pope inquired with a composed demeanor. Wang Jian's voice dripped with fury as he demanded, "Where is Meilin?" In a calm tone, the Pope replied, "She is currently undergoing baptism to cleanse her mind of the defiant thoughts that you implanted within her." Wang Jian scoffed in anger, his voice laced with indignation. "What nonsense! How can something as pure as love be deemed defiant thoughts?" With measured composure, the Pope explained, "She is a saintess, and the Church's saintess must abstain from engaging in illicit relationships between men and women. She was bound by this rule long before joining the Church. Now that she has committed this transgression, she must face the consequences. If she continues to cling to those defiant thoughts, she will be sacrificed to the radiant God as penance for her actions," the Pope uttered with a dark undertone. Upon hearing these words, Wang Jian arched an eyebrow and surveyed the room, his gaze fixating on the idols of pure gold adorning the space, representing the deity known as the Radiant God. "I believe we can reach a mutual agreement, Pope. Release Meilin," Wang Jian proposed, his voice now filled with an unexpected calmness. The Pope responded firmly and unwaveringly, "That is impossible." Wang Jian muttered, "I see." With that, Wang Jian departed. However, he had made up his mind to dismantle the Church. Yet, he knew this task would be arduous to accomplish alone, considering the presence of 3 Emperor realm experts within the sacred walls. While 2 of them were currently in meditation, the Pope himself, seated before Wang Jian, constituted the 3rd. Understanding the need for reinforcements, Wang Jian recognized the imperative of enlisting the aid of the Lotus Blossom sect. He would need to conquer the 2 Emperor realm experts and ensure that the sect launched a coordinated assault on the cathedral, all at his command. Well, that's all for this part. See you all in the next part.